6:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Major breaking news overnight in the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, John Harbaugh and the Giants are expected to finalize an agreement, making him the New York Giants' next head coach. And barring any setback, a deal will be expected. The deal is not final yet, though, and contract numbers are still being negotiated, but Harbaugh is ready to accept the Giants' deal, and the Giants are expected to hire him as soon as possible. Harbaugh canceled his scheduled interview with the Titans today, who are set to fly out to his home after a strong push in his visit in the Giants' facility yesterday. The head coaching search for the Titans will push on and will interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll coming up on Friday, former Cowboys and Packers head coach Mike McCarthy on Saturday, and 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh on Sunday. And in college, a big decision for Oregon quarterback Dante Moore as he announced he is returning to Oregon for the 2026 season yesterday instead of heading to the NFL, where he was expected to be a top 5 pick in this year's draft. Incoming Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola is expected to be the backup. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans involves. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on a Thursday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Well, you may have slept through some major breaking news last night, and it has become closer to official this morning. John Harbaugh is going to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. A meeting with Titans brass that included Amy Adams-Strunk today between the team and Harbaugh has been canceled. Where do the Titans go next? We got a lot of time to talk about that with you this morning. 615-737-1045 is our number. We stream the show live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. He's Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer. And I'm Will Bowling. Ramon, the white whale is off the board. What and who now for the Tennessee Titans? Good morning.
Good morning, man. Was not expecting that. I saw a New York reporter this morning. This guy that really had no likes or retweets on the post somehow showed up on my For You, and I honestly didn't believe it. Like, this dude's just projecting, trying to get out in front. No, he was right. We do what we've been doing, Will, as far as our show. This is why we are trying to provide so much information about everybody else that's in this coaching search, as far as Stefanski or Nagy or Mike McDaniel. I mean, that's the other thing is there's former head coach options that you have for this team. It's a matter of now, since the first white whale we mentioned or the first big dog is off the market, where do you go and how aggressive do the Titans become about this process? I didn't think the Giants would have a head coach this fast, considering, the Titans got out ahead of it, and Harbaugh was one of the last ones to get let go like that. It's aggressive is the next word I think you have to be if you want to go after the guy that you want. So I didn't expect a commitment this soon from John Harbaugh. That's my, I guess, biggest take from this.
For me, it's not surprising. It felt like from the beginning, the New York Giants were the team most strongly connected to John Harbaugh from the start. Clearly, their ability to get a visit in person with Harbaugh before the Titans was significant. And this was always the fear going into his meeting yesterday in New York. Would the Giants let him leave the building? Well, the answer was somewhere in the middle because, yes, they did let him leave the building, but ultimately he did decide after getting back home to Baltimore, actually, yeah, that's what I'm going to end up doing. The Giants are a desperate franchise that have been kind of stuck in mediocrity longer than the Titans have, to be totally fair, and are further removed from the amount of success the Titans had with Mike Vrabel that is still obviously frustrating here. The Titans have had 2 straight seasons picking in the top 5, but the Giants have lived in the top 5 over the last decade plus, and they have the resources to really go after this very, very aggressively. Adam Schefter put it out originally last night. There is still a lot to work through, was the writing at ESPN.com. It is still not 1,000% done, but it's going to get done today. And Mike Garafolo of NFL Media says this was within the last hour. Source on where things stand with John Harbaugh contract talks. It's not done, but it's known by everybody he's going to be the coach of the New York Giants. How legitimate, Ramon, do you think John Harbaugh's interest was in the Tennessee Titans? Do you feel like the Titans were used for leverage in this situation?
Could have been. We spoke about how big of an agency his agent worked for. His agent also owned his own agency before he got taken in by a bigger one that is. And they got a lot of clients. They got a lot of conversations that can be had in different rooms, and they're experts in this type of stuff. I do think that could have been a part of it. I will say this too. Him being a coach as long as he is, and as successful as he's been also, he has to do this type of research personally. Now, what his agents were doing with giving information to Diana Rossini, Adam Schefter, and everybody else, because that was, the most interesting part about this process is everybody had the same information, and it was consistent. Yes, the top three were the Titans, Falcons, and the Giants, and yes, he liked Cam Ward, yes, he liked Jackson Dart. All of that was, even across the board. And maybe it was leverage, just the way I look at it. Like, you got to be smart in these situations, so much so that a super desperate team, to your point, and how the Giants were, they were willing to listen to it. They wanted a big name for a big market, and they feel like they got big personalities there. I mean, to be quite honest with you, they got a good group of young talent. And like you said, also, too, man, a defense that's more set up than what the Titans got. So they got one side of the ball more fit.
And that was my next question. So, what can the Giants offer John Harbaugh that the Titans can't?
Right now, whatever this finalizing of the roster is, finalizing of the contract is whatever John wants. That, to me, is the biggest takeaway from this. If he asks for the $20 million or his agent asks for the $20 million, and he got it, that is a nice cherry on top. Does he need it? Money and numbers, they never end, so you can never have too much, right? But you look at that situation and say, if somebody gave you a blank check and said, write down what you want for your staff, his biggest issues John Harbaugh's had as of late is picking the right assistant coaches.
And it just came out a few minutes ago that he is going to have Todd Monken be his offensive coordinator.
He is?
He is.
Oh.
Diana Rossini 2 minutes ago. Former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken is expected to join John Harbaugh in New York with the Giants. Why does that surprise you?
Because I didn't know if Todd Monken could call it or was successful enough, I guess, for this role. And that was the reason why he got, one of the conversations as to why the ownership didn't want, or Lamar Jackson had differences with Todd Monken.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he certainly has. I think it was kind of one bad year this year, but before this season, Todd Monken had been the offensive coordinator of the fourth and first best scoring offenses in the NFL over the last 2 years before this season.
Well, I didn't expect him to take him, considering Lamar Jackson had an issue with him, and John Harbaugh wouldn't stand off of him.
He has said there was no issue, Monken. I know some of that's been reported. I don't know what's true and what's not there 100%.
Well, here's the thing. Those types of things right there don't get out unless there's some smoke around it. This is the way I view it. Like, I want to believe him at face value, but I don't know him. And we don't know that locker room. And the fact that something like that came out of the locker room is an issue. Now, Lamar Jackson apparently had his other issues, right, with how his teammates dealt with him and how Lamar they felt like he was invested on a week-to-week basis. I don't know. I just didn't see this being the case for him, considering he seemed to have been one of the main pieces why it fell apart in Baltimore. He liked his guy.
Ian Rappaport, 2 minutes ago. The Giants will spend the morning finalizing a 5-year deal with former Ravens coach John Harbaugh, making him one of the most highest paid coaches in the NFL. But Harbaugh has accepted the job as the first opening is filled. So that's a little bit closer, perhaps, to official.
Swift. Very swift.
It's interesting. it is hard to get inside John Harbaugh's head and know what matters to him. Different coaches will look at these jobs differently, and some of them may think there's a better job than the Titans and Giants. Some of them may think the Giants are the number one job. Some of them may think the Titans and Cam Ward are the number one job and want to work with him. I certainly think that the interest was legitimate and genuine between John Harbaugh and the Titans. Everything we've read, everything we've heard has lined up with that. Ramon, I think the biggest thing the Giants could offer him is it's the New York Giants. I mean, this is still a storied franchise in the National Football League. It's not taking anything away from what the Titans have on their roster now, what they have to sell, because the Titans have a lot of new things to sell. Their history in Nashville does, unfortunately, pale in comparison to the tradition and the pomp and circumstance of what it means to represent the New York Football Giants. That may be all that John Harbaugh really needed, is walking in that building and, oh, wow, just smell the halls of this place. Obviously, there are things on that roster that are a big deal as well. Yeah. Being one of the highest paid coaches in the league matters. Yeah, it will. But that always felt like an obstacle the Titans are going to have to be able to overcome here. Ramon, it's the Giants. Like,
it is.
They've fallen on hard times, but it's still the Giants at the end of the day.
The issue, I guess where it falls a little bit, though, too. Like, yes, it's the Giants. But when you look at the division they have to play in, he's willing to accept that also. Would it been, Philly, Washington,
and that had
Dallas.
Been reported as been an obstacle for them as well.
Yes, it has. The bigger issue that I have in this process, and again, John Harbaugh and his camp, his agency, his family can move however they want to. He's a world champion coach. He can decide when he wants to become a head coach or if he wants to retire. But I did expect him to at least come to Nashville. I think the optics of the Titans, brass going to visit him, and then hours later, before the clock strike 12, there are reports that he's already committed to the Giants. I think that is a little bit of a letdown because, again, with what the Titans have to present to him, Cam, money, high draft pick, and a division that's winnable within a year.
Money for him and salary cap.
Money for him and salary cap, right? Yeah. And a division that's winnable for him quickly, considering, the Jaguars were able to pull it off too. I just wonder what was going through, to your point, him and his agent's mind into why he said, no to the Titans so quick. And I know money's a part of it, but I honestly don't think it was money to begin with, though, too, with a guy like him.
I don't think so either.
That I will say, that right there, that sucks.
We'll see where things go next, and truthfully, we'll never really know what ultimately made the 100% difference for John Harbaugh. Like, you'd have to give him truth serum and really understand like what totally led you to New York, and he'll say all the right things, and a lot of it will be coach speak, and a lot of it will be like, this is the only place I ever wanted. Like, I believe that the Titans and John Harbaugh were legitimately mutually interested in one another from everything that we know. So now you move forward. The question is, where do you move forward? Wide open for your phone calls, 615-737-1045. How disappointed are you to see John Harbaugh off the board for the Titans? Who is your top choice now that he has gone? 615-737-1045. Your thoughts next.
What comes to mind when you think of home? Maybe it's the meals around the kitchen table, movie nights on the couch. Love those, man. Or the feeling of walking through the door and knowing you're safe. Home is where life happens, and at the center of it all is your home's foundation. Yes, at USS, they understand how important the foundation is to your life and how much trust it takes when you need to help keep it protected. All right. Now, January is wet month. We've dealt with some rain yesterday, and we already have seen this. So when water starts showing up where it doesn't belong in your basement or crawl space, it can quickly become a serious problem. And figuring out where the water is coming from, that can be a nightmare. It can come from poor drainage, small cracks in your foundation walls, or even a hidden plumbing leak that's just been going on for, honestly, years, months. Don't matter. Just bad timing, man. But the USS experts will find out why your basement or crawl space is wet, then create a customized plan to fix it the right way and with a lifetime warranty. United Structural Systems are more than just a team of problem solvers. They're your neighbors, and they care about their customers. That's you. You can go ahead and visit USSTN.com, man. That's USSTN.com, and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, 1045 The Zone, 615-737-1045. What now for the Tennessee Titans? John Harbaugh is going to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. And Ramona, now we bounce back.
Yeah, we do. Justin.
There's always a topic, and Justin's always going to find a song for it.
Justin.
Always going to find a song for it.
How quick did you come to this song, Jayhawk?
Probably when I woke up.
Diana Rossini, 1 minute ago, while the Giants discussed with John Harbaugh yesterday what a contract structure would look like, nothing has been finalized, per source. He's going to be the next coach of the Giants.
Yeah, the structure is whatever he wants it to be.
Yes, it is. Which, to me, Ramon, is even more telling. We'll figure out all those details later. Just come on back. Come on back to Jersey. He's wasting gasoline and airplanes like Taylor Swift. Diana Rossini, sorry, Peyton. The Giants will speak with John Harbaugh today to discuss potential staff hires and next steps. As the first team to make a hire this cycle, the organization plans to conduct due diligence on top OC and DC candidates before finalizing his staff structure. Where do you go next, Ramon? Who is next on your board? And what's next in this process for you?
So looking at this situation is super unique because you don't know where John Harbaugh went. Did he go for the money and control and his staff? Or did he go to what he felt like was a better situation? Or did he go with a guy in Joe Shane that he felt like he could work better with? That's the issue. So what the issue that I have of where you go next is why did this all fall apart too? And if the Titans job doesn't seem appealing, which I think it is, then how do you attract the next guy that's high up on the list? And all right, the first overall draft pick is gone in John Harbaugh. How can you appease to the next guy? Is that Stefanski? Is that Mike McDaniel? Is that Matt Nagy? Like, these are the questions that you have to ask yourself, and what are you willing to give up? Clearly, whatever the Giants gave up was a ton, and he deserved that too. Were the Titans willing to give that up? Do they have a certain sense do they have a ceiling in which they weren't willing to go past? Because if that's the case and the next guy realized that they're not ready to go that far with them, then what do? And right now, it settles in on a guy that we know, and that is Matt Nagy, who that Mike Reganzi knows, right? How coveted is Stefanski going to be? Because, again, Stefanski's been pointed towards Baltimore. He's been pointed towards Atlanta. And now you got negotiations that have to happen at this point, though, too. So Robert Saleh's been a part of this also. So there's a multitude of different coaches, Will, to answer your question, that you got to decide who's going to lead this team, who can work best with Cam, and who can build a staff. It's more than just a name, to be quite honest with you. And that's why I honestly have looked at this Nagy situation and said to myself, like, he may be the best guy to honestly reset yourself before, I'll be quite honest with you, there's a new guy or there's new coordinators that have to come in too. So the person, if we're going by name, I think it's Stefanski or Saleh. But the comfortability of picking a guy that you feel like is going to work, that's on Mike Berganzi. And it seems like Matt Nagy would be a huge part of this discussion, whether people like it or not.
615-737-1045, our number. The Titans did speak with Arthur Smith, Steelers OC, I guess let go Steelers OC, yesterday on Zoom. And they did meet with Mike McDaniel, former Dolphins head coach, in person. They have no scheduled interviews today because today was supposed to be John Harbaugh Day. So there is time today, Ramon, to regroup and get a new list. Maybe they already had a list of contingency plans if Harbaugh did fall through. How significant is it that Amy Adams-Strunk was about to get on a plane and go see John Harbaugh? Like, is it obvious to you that Harbaugh was plan A, option number one for the Titans?
Very significant. She needed to be a part of it too, because if you have the Giants and all the reports of their ownership, and I didn't think they needed to bring in Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart came in and talked with him also, then yeah, it shows her commitment to whatever John Harbaugh needed. And the other part too, Harbaugh's in a position where he needs to be able to talk to ownership and have a relationship with them and see what they're made of. I'm not going to say, because you bring up Miss Amy's name and people are like, well, that's the reason why he didn't take it.
And like, I'm assuming that based off what Diana Rossini said, saying that that Titans decision makers were scheduled to meet in person for their formal in-person interview. That I'm just reading between the lines on
no
that,
doubt.
right? Like, of what Diana said, to say that we know through the process from what's been reported that Amy's going to jump in for the in-person part of this. And if that was the formal in-person interview, again, maybe I'm making an assumption there. So we don't maybe know 100% that Amy was going to be there, but that's what Diana's put out there.
I had heard they were on their way to Baltimore yesterday to meet with him.
Okay.
That's the birdie that I got from a pretty good source that they were on the way. I thought they were actually in Baltimore and met with him. If they were slated and he knew they were about to go to Baltimore, go to Baltimore to meet with him at his home, and he told them no, the Giants sweetened the pot way beyond I think anybody could ever have known.
Yeah, because he got back to Baltimore late last night.
Yeah.
Harbaugh did.
And what's crazy is I don't know if this is a situation where he just felt that comfortable with him or he didn't feel as comfortable with what the Titans were presenting. Because, again, if Rossini and everybody else reported that he was studying Cam and Jackson Dart, namely those two guys, like the tape, kind of speaks for itself with Cam. It's just that he was close and the Giants got to him first. Would the Titans have closed him if they'd have got to him first? Or the questions you have to ask? Or was he just anti-Titan in this process?
Well, and two, in some ways, you liked the fact that you were going to have the last visit. You got to answer everything that the Giants had told John Harbaugh, and you had a chance to know what their offer was and counter it and make moves. This is the risk you took, though, in having the next visit. And maybe it's not even a risk you took. This may have been John Harbaugh's choice. Again, there's a lot we don't know, and we believe that Amy Adams-Strunk was going to be there because she's going to be in the in-person part, but we don't 1,000% have that confirmed. And sounds like that is strongly the case from what you've said. So we'll see where they go next. I mean, if they are that aggressive in pursuing John Harbaugh, what we do not know, Ramon, is what other strong feelings do they have about other candidates? And are they willing, my big question is, to go back to Kevin Stefanski, whom they've already met with in person, and give him a full court press? Because I do think this process is going to start moving very quickly for not just the Titans, but for everyone else who needs a head coach, and specifically the Atlanta Falcons, who have also heavily been linked to Kevin Stefanski.
Does it give a bad message to other candidates that you send your full brass to Harbaugh, but not the other candidates? That you're all in on one, but not all the others?
Well, I don't think so, because you can't meet with other candidates that currently have jobs in person until January the 19th.
And that's the issue I think you run into when you're talking about Robert Saleh.
And you've already met with Stefanski and McDaniel in person. They could just come here. You were going to go meet Harbaugh in Baltimore, which, maybe that sends a message. I don't think that's all that big of a deal in terms of, I think other coaches also know who John Harbaugh is.
Yeah, they do too. Yeah.
And have respect for him.
The five candidates, McDaniel, Stefanski, and
Daboll.
Oh, Daboll. I don't think Dable's in it. I'm going to pull that finger back.
No, yeah.
But I think some of these, like Daboll or McDaniels, I think some of them are kind of like getting the LaFleur treatment, where you come in as a head coaching interview, but you actually are interviewing maybe for the OC job.
I think that plan shifts now, Jayhawk. I think if you had Harbaugh in this conversation, you try to bring McDaniel in as an OC, but I think now he's gonna warrant a head coaching job this time around.
It sounds like Harbaugh was always going to bring in Monken, so I don't think that would have been possible for Harbaugh.
That was Rossini's reporting.
Todd Monken.
That was always the plan.
Mm-hmm.
That was always the plan.
So he probably wouldn't have given you the opportunity to decide.
Correct.
Optics wise, what is bad, I ain't gonna say, as much as the Titans have gone through to not even get a sit down with them, that right there, that part of it right there is disheartening.
615-737-1045. Mike in Cleveland up first. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm surprised we got it.
Yeah, it's just a little icy and snowy up here. I ain't want to scare nobody, but y'all my people, so I went ahead and blew the horn, man. But yeah, dog, they definitely talked about our ownership with all the firing, on the national coverage I was listening to before y'all came on. That definitely came up, the inconsistency with the firings, and maybe that's why Harbaugh didn't even want to meet with him. You know, he didn't want to be in that cycle. That was something that they were saying. But, yeah, man, the other thing real quick, you know, me and about 3 other partners was talking, and we was talking about, and Moan, we kind of brought this up yesterday, the Harbaughs, some of these older, harder coaches might not be able to connect with the younger guys as much as we might want them. Are they really what these younger players are really going to respond to? So it might not be, you know, it might not be as good as we all, us fans, might think that it is. So that's something that's been playing in my head since all day yesterday. As far as coaching hires, I mean, me and my other dude, Brian, 53, we feel like the Titans are trying to maybe talk themselves out of hiring Nagy. It's pretty much Nagy's who they want. Maybe they're talking to all these other coaches for OC and DC, but it's like, are they trying to talk themselves out of Nagy? Because really, that's who they want. And right now, as it stands, I just want our head coach to be here. So Harbaugh, if that was going to be a hard sell, full course press to get him here, and he really wasn't going to be like wanted to be there in the back of his mind, that Giants job was going to be there, then cool, you did what's best for you. I want our head coach to be somebody who wants to be here. And if that's Nagy, if that's Stefanski, then cool. Then let's run with it and let's go. But, yeah, man, good, you know, love y'all, man.
Appreciate it.
Stay praying for your boy out on this, in this blizzard. Yeah.
No doubt.
Stay safe, Mike. Good to hear from you. Talking themselves into Nagy. Do you feel like Matt Nagy is still the most likely candidate to be the Titans' next head coach?
Maybe the easiest pull, for sure.
It's the strongest connection that we can make. There's no question about that. I just don't know how much that matters. The logical choice isn't always the choice. And I think this is a search where you haven't heard a lot coming out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's by design. I think that's the way Mike Borgonzi operates. So it leaves us pretty much one breadcrumb. It's the breadcrumb we started with. Matt Nagy. They work together.
The thing that I have about whoever the next coaches want to be is viewing where this team is and what this team needs to. That's the question. I brought it up yesterday about Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh's in his 60s already. How long can he stomach rebuilding this thing up to be competitive?
That's a good point.
That's the point that I think when you look at that other side of the ball defensively, like they got Malik Neighbors also up there. Like they got pieces in place. They got a perennial left tackle as well. That's proven himself in a good part of his young career. Here's the way I look at it. Whoever it is got to be early 50s, late 40s. If they go get somebody that's in their 30s, cool. But you got to be able to stomach where the Tennessee Titans are also. There has to be still, I think, a rebuild from a coach's perspective, a culture perspective, locker room, just overall cohesion of staff moving forward. And you got to be able to be malleable, too, is the way I'm looking at it. And I'm talking about head coach to GM to front office, like, and understanding how do I pivot and where do I go. Like, I hate to say it like this, but you might have to end up getting the nurturer that's going to build himself up and build this team up moving forward, though, too. Who's got the stomach to be able to deal with this? Because the thing about it is, yes, Jackson Dart and Cam Ward are comparable on how their rookie seasons are, and both are very exciting, but there's some stuff that each one of those guys have to be able to want to deal with, and I don't think, looking at the way Borgonzi is going to go about this process, that he wants a quick fix. I think this may end up being a lead up to a coaching and a staff getting better. I think Harbaugh brings immediate thought of success.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Titans are at that spot right now, even with the ability to go in the, free agency and buy some players, Breece Hall or whoever else for that matter. This is still, in my personal opinion, a growth through professionalism for the coach that's going to come in. Who can do it? Who's seen bad?
But so are the Giants.
But like,
that's the whole thing for John Harbaugh. They've got maybe not as many holes on the roster today, but they have less resources to take that roster to the next level this offseason.
The way I look at it, too, is it looked like they're willing to shapeshift their cap, and do whatever they can to get Harbaugh to a point to where he's more competitive faster. And the only reason I bring that up is that defensive side of the ball is more complete. They got a premier wide receiver
For New York?
for New York.
That's 28th total defense in the league last year.
With a fire head coach, like there's perspective
That
to be given on
secondary
that, though,
is
too.
awful.
And they can
Awful.
go in free agency to figure that one out, though, too. Like, I know, like, that what that means, but legitimately, they got more pieces than what the Titans have right now.
They do, but again, like they have less resources to get more pieces. Like it's not the team that's playing right now. The Titans, I think, have the ability to make their roster better than the Giants by the time we're playing football again. Clearly, that didn't matter enough to John Harbaugh, or they made a big enough pitch to him to convince him otherwise. But that's the interesting part of all of this. I don't think the Giants are in a better position than the Titans today at quarterback or on just all things put together and everything considered. They don't have a lot of money to spend this offseason. They got to make some big moves and trust that, hey, like a lot of the guys that are here are going to still be here. How much better could John Harbaugh make them? Remains to be seen. 615-737-1045. Ryan is in Dixon up next.
Hey, guys. How are y'all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Hey, just wanted to hit on this John Harbaugh stuff. Truly, I think that the Titans dodged a bullet. And here's why. I mean, you got to think of, like last year, he had the same offensive coordinator they're going to hire over there in New York. All that talent, they couldn't get nothing done. I mean, that right there is just ridiculous. And I know Lamar Jackson was hurt half the season. I get all that. But you got to realize that roster was incredible. However, as far as him going with New York over Tennessee, I think that to come to Nashville, you got to be all in. If you're not going to be all in and embrace Nashville, embrace Tennessee, then you take your butt somewhere else. In my personal opinion, I think we need to get McCarthy just for the offense side of the ball. And I'll hang up and listen. You guys have a great day. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ryan.
Me too. Appreciate it, Ryan.
You think the Titans dodged a bullet anyway, Ramon?
I don't.
I don't either.
No. Like, I know what he means by that too. Because here's the thing: who's to say Harbaugh is going to be successful in any place that he goes? Like this, I think it's okay to be real about this situation, though, too. Like the appeal of New York plays a huge part in it, but again, there's a lot to fix on either one of these teams. But I legitimately look at it and say, if you really strip it down, there's only two names that you will want to name on this team versus the 6, 7, or 8 that the Giants have. And maybe that's Harbaugh's MO. That's what he was looking for. Like, yes, they got less to work with as far as money and free agency, but we all know this too. They will move and shift money around to make it work in free agency. Guys will end up getting contract restructures because if they are bending the knee for whatever Harbaugh wants and is contracting for his staff, they'll make it happen as far as the roster goes too.
It's going to be interesting. We'll see how they try to maneuver it. I think a lot of teams would have tried to offer John Harbaugh the moon and given them a plan. The Titans would have had a plan to try to quickly get things ready, meaning on the roster to immediately compete for John Harbaugh. But he chose the Giants plan. Where do you go next? 615-737-1045. Henry, Kendall, and James are up next. We will get to them after this as Hour 1 continues at Ramona Will, 1045 The Zone. Ramona Will rolls on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We mentioned earlier that we understand, obviously, from this whole process that owner Amy Adams Strunk will be involved in person as the in-person interviews begin for the Tennessee Titans. Diana Rossini had put out that Titans high-level brass were getting ready to fly to Baltimore to meet with John Harbaugh. We understood that very likely meant Amy Adams Strunk was going to be there. Well, Albert Breer has confirmed that within the last 20 minutes. He writes this morning on Twitter, we saw this earlier today as well, the Titans had the plane ready for today with GM Mike Borgonzi, President of Football Operations Chad Brinker, and owner Amy Adams Strunk set to go to Baltimore before John Harbaugh canceled. They went after Harbaugh from right when he was let go, but knew it might be a long shot. So that's also where we got what we said this morning of like Amy was going to go to Baltimore. Albert Breer confirming that on his social media account here today. Clearly, this was a priority. And why wouldn't it be? It's John Harbaugh. Of course it was a priority.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was just looking at it like the plan was set. It just shows you again, like, I guess if one of these fired coaches is your guy, you got to go now. The biggest issue, of course, like you said, is them not getting a conversation with Harbaugh. That to me is not unprofessional, because if that's where his heart was anyway, you go with what you want in these situations. I don't think there's any hate or malice given to anybody that was attempting to go after him, meaning, of course, Chad Brinker, Mike Bergonzi, and also Miss Amy in that situation too, Burke Nahel, whoever all was going on the plane to gas it up. I just hope they didn't spend their money buying gas and don't get an opportunity to use it. I'll say this, it's not unprofessional. It's not disrespectful. He went with what he probably wanted in the beginning and a team that gave him everything that he wanted. Conversations, I bet, were had from the Titans brass to him about their push to want him. This is going to get a lot of heat, because when you mention Miss Amy's name, it's always going to be like, well, it's because of her. This is a situation in which I think when you're given everything that you want and you're in a position to play in the big market, you run with it. I don't think it's any diss to Miss Amy or the Titans, the fact that John Harbaugh went in that direction. I legitimately look at it and say this, though, too. I think the roster of draft picks that they've had as of late could be a determining factor in how much further you got to go. I think the Titans got a good bit to go with setting this team up to be sustainable, and Harbaugh in his plus 60s right now might not want to spend the time rebuilding an entire team, despite what their records are.
Yeah, and to that point, what has this organization and ownership done that the Giants haven't also done in the last 10 years? I know the Maras have been a part of a lot of success in New York, and John Mara has been a part of 2 different Super Bowls. I get all of that, but what have you done for me lately? In the last 10 years, since 2016, the Giants have hired Ben McAdoo, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, Brian Daboll, and now John Harbaugh. It's 5 head coaches now since 2016. In that time, they had winning seasons in 2022 and 2022. I mean, like, that's it. I mean, 2016, they were 11-5. But if we're going now 2017 and now, I mean, like, yes, 2 winning seasons since 2016. But, like, the Titans had winning seasons in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. And, yeah, things have fallen apart over the last 4 years. But Amy Adams Strunk should get credit for that as well. Again, I'm not saying things have been perfect. They've hired the wrong people at times. I get it. But it's odd to me how we criticize Amy for things we're not willing to criticize other owners for. Mm-hmm. And that's probably more of a national perception conversation.
It is.
But no owner is totally faultless. They got to get this hire right. They've made a string of wrong decisions, but let's be honest about the decisions that the Giants have made as well. And I agree with you. And I'm not arguing with you. Yeah. You're making the exact same point. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. He wanted to be in the market. That's it. Like I said, to me, the only issue is they didn't get a sit down with him, an in-person sit down with him. That's the only issue.
For sure. Let's go to Henry in Lebanon up next. What's up, Henry?
Morning, Henry.
Good morning, Ramon. Good morning, Will.
Good morning.
Happy Friday, Junior, to you.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to throw a name in the hat this morning. I hadn't really heard a lot of talk about Mike McCarthy. I know we're interviewing with him later in the week. I think the biggest gripe most Titan fans have right now is we're not winning games. Mike McCarthy, I wouldn't say his tenure with the Dallas Cowboys was bad. I mean, he was making it to the playoffs. If we're winning that amount of games and we're making it to the playoffs, that's a successful season. That's all I got.
Thank you, Henry.
No
Appreciate
doubt,
the call.
Henry.
Mike McCarthy, you still open to that?
Very much so.
Yeah, me too.
I am. I think, like I said, Jeremy Fowler, painting the picture that coaches usually don't get a third time around the sun kind of, skewed my view of him. But, yeah, he deserves it. He absolutely does if he's got the stomach to deal with it. That's what you're getting yourself into, and the ability to put a staff together. I think that's going to be the biggest thing when it comes down to who they hire. Who can put a staff together?
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Kendall in Nashville up next. What's up, Kendall?
Morning, Kendall.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Great.
Good. How you?
Man, stressed out, man. I think this is my third time calling y'all this week, man.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, come on, let it out then, Kendall. Come on.
So what I want to say is probably not the beautiful pick or anything like that for head coach, but I'm really interested in Jason Garrett. And I know people talk about his time in New York as the OC, but look at who the head coach was. Look at who he had at quarterback. He had Daniels, who was still young at the time. He had Colt McCoy, and I think Mike Glennon played. But when he was in Dallas, I think he had a lot, with helping develop Tony Romo and helping develop Dak. His last season in Dallas, he had the number one offense in the league. I think he wants to be here. Looking at him talk about the Titans on NBC, I think it was Sunday night. I think he wants to be here, and I think he's somebody who has experience, who can come in and do good things. I know people probably like, well, he's been out for a long time, but, man, he's been around football, and he knows football, and I think he'll be a good pick here. But I'll let you guys talk.
Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate the call. Jason Garrett's not in my top list. I mean, where is he for you, Ramon?
He's not in the top 3. If you tell me they hired Jason Garrett, I think I'd be okay with it.
I think he's honestly, Ramon, one of the only ones that I would struggle to wrap my head around.
You kind of,
he's been out of the league for a long time for a reason.
Understood. Most definitely. As long as he ain't in a play calling situation as OCDC, fine. Like, I'm at this point right now with this hiring process, beggars can't be choosy about this. Like, you can be specific and have a detail in what you have details in what you want.
Sure.
But the way I view this one, you got to want somebody that wants this job.
I don't think the Titans are beggars.
I'm not saying that they are, but I'm just saying, like, the idea that it was Harbaugh or bust, like, I get the conversation and want and need for him to be your head coach, but, like, there is no certainty that whoever this coach is going to be successful. Like, you need a worker bee in this one, man.
Just the last time we saw Jason Garrett, it was a really bad offense that he was in charge of in New York.
Here's
really bad.
If he does get it, what does that say about him, or what does that say about the front office and Mike Borgonzi? Not saying that he's going to get it, but he had an interview here with the Tennessee Titans for this job. And maybe it's a favor that they did to him.
I could be wrong. I don't consider Jason Garrett one of the prime candidates to be this team's head coach.
I don't think he's prime either. I'm just having an open conversation that if he does get a second interview, something about his ability to guide this team is good. And that's the question. What is this franchise looking for with this coach? Immediate success?
Clearly, head coaching experience matters because that has been a strong link for them on who they've interviewed. They've also requested an interview like half the league. And I don't see that as a negative. I mean, clearly they are going through a process that includes 18 different coaches. So we don't have a lot to go off of, Ramon, on what matters to them other than what Mike Borgonzi's told us. But Mike Borgonzi's not in the business of telling us really the real answers on the whiteboard inside the facility, nor should he. It's not his job to tell us. So I don't know. We're working with trying to understand a process and watch a story unfold with a blindfold on. That's what we're trying to do. And I don't have all the answers for you. I can tell you that Albert Breer and Diana Rossini have pointed us to the fact that Amy Adams Strunk is about to get on a plane today, and they loved John Harbaugh. And clearly John Harbaugh was someone they targeted from day one. Well, who else have you targeted from day one? We're about to find out. About to find out who you want. 615-737-1045. I've got one big question. The Titans could still maybe make a hire before the weekend, but it'd probably have to be one candidate. Is that candidate worth upending your whole process for? We'll talk about it next.
7:03, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Updates this morning in the John Harbaugh to the New York Giants deal as head coach. Per Ian Rappaport, the Giants will spend the morning finalizing a 5-year deal with the former Ravens head coach in John Harbaugh, making him one of the NFL's highest paid coaches. But Harbaugh has accepted the job as the first opening is officially filled in the NFL. Also this morning, per Diana Rossini, former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken is expected to join Harbaugh on the Giants staff. According to Rossini, this was always the plan. For the Titans, the head coach search pushes on as they interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll on Friday, former Cowboys and Packers head coach Mike McCarthy on Saturday, and for 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, as well as former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon on Sunday. In college hoops, number 10 Vanderbilt suffered their first loss of the season to Texas last night, 80-64, bringing their season win total 16-1. And in college football, a big decision for Oregon quarterback Dante Moore as he announced he's returning to Oregon for the 2026 season instead of heading to the NFL, where he was expected to be a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. Incoming Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola is expected to be the backup behind Dante Moore. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 2 this morning on Ramon and Will. John Harbaugh is jetting off to New York. I mean, really New Jersey, if we want to be technical.
Could drive up, be
probably
honest
could.
with you.
Beltway, Baltimore to New Jersey. That's probably a little bit of a haul. I don't know. I've lived in this city my whole life. 615-737-1045, our number. He's Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. Coach Mack will join us in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Dave McGinnis breaking down some of the candidates, breaking down divisional round playoff football and where the Titans can go next. Albert Breer must be listening to the show this morning, Ramon, because he is thinking along our same wavelength.
Tell me what he's thinking, man.
6 minutes ago, SI.com NFL insider Albert Breer says the Titans will move forward and have an interview with ex-Cowboys and Packers coach Mike McCarthy set for Saturday, and interviews with 49ers defensive coordinator and ex-Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon on Sunday. Ex-Browns coach Kevin Stefanski remains a very strong candidate there, too. I wanted to ask you about Stefanski, Ramon.
Yeah.
Now that John Harbaugh is going to the Giants, the perception that I have, I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that Kevin Stefanski is plan B for a lot of teams in terms of how you separate all of these candidates, the successes that they've had, their reputations around the league. Mm-hmm. Is it worth upending this whole process? Telling Mike McCarthy, nah, we're going to go with Stefanski, sorry. Not ever meeting with Robert Saleh, not ever meeting with a number of candidates who are still coaching, and now quickly pivoting to Kevin Stefanski or Ramon before the Falcons can.
Yeah, I think he becomes it. Over the available coaches right now, other than McCarthy. McCarthy, it was brought to my attention, McCarthy wasn't fired. He and Jerry Jones chose to part at the end of his contract, if that matters. If that matters as far as optics go. But yes, if they want Kevin Stefanski, you go get him. I personally have thought that Robert Saleh stays put in San Francisco. Then you also can't get a in-person interview with him until they lose. That's the other part of the conversation, too, to me, is you want to be able to see these people, feel these people's presence, and who's bull crapping you, to be quite honest with you, too, in these type of interviews. Over Zoom, you can't see if somebody's attention is somewhere else, texting on their phone. Like, you get a one-on-one. I don't think anybody would do that in these situations. But Stefanski, yes, he, in my personal opinion, is the adult in the room when you look at these next guys that are available as candidates that you can trust, that's run an organization before. Jesse Minter, of course, yes. Conversations around him. I don't think the Titans have submitted an interview for Brian Flores, but, like, I'm looking at these guys that are available. I personally, I'm not high. Maybe he's listening to us right now because I think he's in Nashville on Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel needs a little bit more polishing as a head coach moving forward. And maybe I'm 100% wrong on that one, but it's the way I view the Tennessee Titans job and the need that they have at head coach. It needs to be an adult that understands how to deal with turmoil. And I don't mean because of the franchise or losing or the ownership. I mean because there's so much that you got to piece together. That guy to me, and he's been high on my list for a while, is Stefanski. That's why I also think it's intriguing with Matt Nagy being a part of this conversation because he's dealt with turmoil. He's gotten booed out of Chicago. His perception publicly is bad with a lot of people's opinions of him. And he's gone to a place right now in Kansas City to understand how it works. Doesn't want to be a play caller, just wants to be a manager of people, of men, of a franchise. These are the things you got to be real about this process moving forward. So, yes, Stefanski's well in play, in my personal opinion. I think Matt Nagy's well in play in my opinion, about what this team and this franchise need, the players.
So you'd go get Stefanski now and not talk to Robert Saleh or Mike McCarthy?
Robert Saleh's ability to build a staff, I think, is going to be questionable considering he's right in the middle of playoffs and they got an opportunity to win this upcoming weekend. So, yeah. I do think it's a little bit, I ain't going to say it's problematic. Am I all in if Robert Saleh gets the job? Yes. But here's the thing. You got a guy right now that can piece together his staff and also get his eyes and go to work right now if you go to Stefanski.
That's the challenge, I think, of where the Titans sit today is that John Harbaugh and that big domino has fallen. If you wait too long to go get Kevin Stefanski, you might lose the opportunity to hire Kevin Stefanski with as in high demand as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you waited until Sunday to speak to Robert Saleh the afternoon after he coaches his 49ers against the Seahawks on Saturday night, you get done with that meeting and you think, nah, all right, liked it, didn't love it, whatever, and you kind of get through the weekend, and you want to call Stefanski on Monday, well, the Falcons may have already hired him by then.
Yeah.
As have the Ravens, or there are plenty of other teams that are going to be in the mix for him as an in-demand candidate. The reality is you're taking that risk with all these guys.
Yeah, you are.
So who has stood out to you, or how much of the process still matters to you? Personally, while Kevin Stefanski is my next best option, I think you got to meet with Robert Saleh. I think you got to at least go through the weekend. I think you got to hear Mike McCarthy out. To me, being proactive instead of reactive is important for the Titans right now. You can't rush through this process just because your first name came off the board. If Monday morning we're talking to you and we hear the breaking news sounder and Kevin Stefanski's the head coach, I will be thrilled. I think him and Robert Saleh are equal to me as my next best option. But I do think you owe it to Robert Saleh to at least talk with him and see if you're impressed enough to let him then earn an in-person second round of interviews once he's available to do those. Because he can't do those yet. It'll be on Zoom Sunday with Robert Saleh. That's a risk. I mean, because, again, if you go ahead and hire Stefanski, then you're taking the risk that maybe you would have met with Robert Saleh and fallen in love with him in person. You just got to wait to be able to do that.
I agree.
That's why they make the big bucks, Ramon.
It is why they make the big bucks.
Let's go to the phones.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Dustin and Baxter this morning. What's up, Dustin?
Not much, guys. I just had a interesting question because I didn't think about it the other day, and I think this coach would definitely has the longevity, and I think would be interesting with Cam Ward. I know you would have to go and talk to him, but has anyone possibly thought about possibly going to go talk to Mike Tomlin about with Cam Ward and nice draft class that we have, and just his longevity and everything else? I just think it would at least be interesting in talking to him. I know he said he might not coach in 2026, but just wanted to hear your reaction and see what y'all thought. I'll hang up.
Sure. For sure. Thanks, Dustin. If Mike Tomlin wanted to coach Ramon and was available for nothing, he would skyrocket, I think, to both our boards at the top of the list. But he has told plenty of people he doesn't want to coach next year. That's not the that is the expectation, and you would have to trade for him because he is under contract with the Steelers through 2027.
Let me ask you this, and the fan base too, who's listening to us, if he did come out tonight and say, I wanted a coach and the Steelers are willing to trade him, are you willing to give up is he worth the 4th overall draft pick?
No. Not to me. Is he to you?
Yeah.
I don't think this franchise is in the position to give up high level draft capital that they need to build a roster for whoever the head coach is.
It to me also boils into, one, he's young enough. Coach Tomlin is 53 years old.
And unfortunately, it is kind of a moot point because he doesn't want to coach next year.
He don't want to coach. This is a hypothetical, but
Totally
we get paid to talk, and we might as well explore this for a second. Just give me a second. The reason I say it's worth it is because you have the quarterback already. We mentioned earlier, they got money to work in free agency to go try to build up a team. 2, to where it's sustainable enough to where you keep a coach like him intrigued and you don't ruin what they are. Good coaches, man, can change a culture. Good coaches can put you in a position to where at least you are competitive on the field. What is the motto you tell when the Vols hired Heupel? Can't be bad and boring. I think you put yourself in a position with a coach like him to stack it up. I look at Dan Campbell's situation. As far as the Titans' job goes in Detroit, like, this may be a build-up to becoming sustainable. And that's why I think, like, going to get a coach that's hot, means one thing, but it's also, you got to go get a coach that knows how to build, knows how to keep a standard up. And if you're telling me that if Coach Tomlin was in a position to say, yes, I do want to coach, my bad, I changed my mind, y'all, I like being around the guys, I do think the 4th overall pick would be worth it.
The only scenario where I would have been okay with that is if the Titans had earned the number 1 pick this year, traded back, and used an extra first to give one of them to the Steelers and still have a first-round pick.
Understood.
I agree with you that the positive in that favor is you have a quarterback, but we watched 17 games of evidence that suggest that quarterback still needs a significant amount of help that he did not have this year. The high-level draft capital is just too valuable for where this team is right now. But it's all hypothetical anyway.
It's all hypothetical.
Coach Mack at Titans Radio, our head coach, joins us next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors. Good people, man. I'm here to tell you about them, man. They are a trusted family-owned Middle Tennessee company serving from Clarksville to Murfreesboro for over 25 years. They stand out by building relationships and earning trust through referrals, never through high-pressure tactics, door knocking, or storm chasing at all. And I think we'll end up getting some cold weather. It might end up getting into those ice jams on your roof that could leak into it. Well, guess what, man? You can call my friends at Jewel Roofing to come over and look at your house. If you feel like you have an issue that you want somebody to take a look at, this is a company that I trust, man. Their owner, Robbie Van Norman, is one of the best guys around when it comes to running a business that's here in our community, man. As I told you before, they don't do the door knocking, the storm chasing, or putting up posters in your neighborhood so that you will go to them and, hey, be intrigued by them. No, they work on word of mouth more than times, man. And I'm here to tell you they are good at what they do. For a roofer that you can count on, call 615-868-9999 or visit the website at jewelroofing.com. That's jewelroofing with 2 L's.com.
The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Bowling. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. So act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling talking Titans this morning as the head coach search continues. And we are joined by Titans Radio's head coach, Dave McGinnis, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Mac, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good talking to you this morning. A lot going on.
Certainly is. A lot of interviews. A plane that was reportedly going to be headed to Baltimore. Mac, we've seen many national people put it out there that John Harbaugh is headed to the New York Giants. What do you think about the possible fit, the reported move that is being made this morning?
Well, look, unless you're involved in it, look, I've been involved in it intimately for a lot of years, and unless you're involved in it, I mean, anything else that you hear is conjecture.
Sure.
And to me, I'm just going to sit back and let this thing play out. I got complete confidence in Mike Morganzi and his group as far as to what they're doing. So any other type of rhetoric about any of this stuff is just speculation, which really doesn't help anybody.
Well, Coach, we do know the Titans have interviewed 7 candidates officially, and that they have talked with Lou Anarumo, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Vance Joseph, Kevin Stefanski, Mike McCoy, and Jason Garrett, with the team putting that out over the weekend. Mac, with Kevin Stefanski specifically, I'm curious your just knowledge of him and what stands out about his resume, Mac, as someone who took the Cleveland Browns to quite a bit of success for them in the time that he was there, and now sits here as one of these other candidates with coaching experience that looks to be in high demand here and elsewhere.
Yeah, well, look, you've got qualified candidates, and that's why the interview process is very, very important. Not only in the preliminary discovery, but also once you get face to face. So as I say, the first thing that I do is I have a lot of confidence in the people that are making this decision, and they're not going into it unprepared at all. As far as trying to judge all of these people, I mean, it's kind of like looking at the draft. Unless you really sit down and talk with somebody and spend some time digging into them personally, then you're just talking about things on the surface. So I will say this: I've got complete confidence in Mike Morganzi and his group with what's going on. So you know that they're going over this stuff in a lot of detail. And so really what I think about it really doesn't matter.
No doubt about it. Coach Mack, when you view this process, and it's got to be a long, hard process of thinking out when it's, your front office and Mike Morganzi, Chad Brinker, Berg Nihill, Ms. Amy Adams-Strunk, they have to hear these candidates speak, Coach Mack, and each one of them comes with I'm talking about a perfect game plan on how to become a head coach. Mack, in these situations, what separates the guys that they choose, versus the guys that they let walk?
Well, I mean, it just depends on the feel, and really what comes down to the details when you're talking to somebody. There is no one thing that covers it all. There really isn't. I mean, and you get a feel for it. You've heard me say this before. I interviewed for 3 of these things, and all of them were different. But you get a feel as to whether, you yourself personally as a candidate feel like the fit is right, and also the people that are interviewing. So there has to be some synergy between, but there's really, Ramon, there's not just one magic pill all of a sudden that you say, this is it. I mean, and that's why it's important to have people that are experienced doing this, because you can't manufacture the experience in figuring out, because it's all you're taking everything on a bet. I mean, that's what you're doing. There's not one thing that's gonna flip it. You have to have a total feel about it, and it's just like drafting a player. I mean, you do all your work, but sooner or later, when it comes down to it, if you make the hire, then it has to work on a daily basis. But there is no magic potion that you all of a sudden say, this is it. That's why experience is so important as far as people that are involved in the process.
Mac, when you this process, I feel like it's just way different these days from the era that you kind of grew up in, as far as the head coaching job goes, man. Because the candidates have gotten younger. It's, a lot of first-time guys that are worthy of these positions right here. Mac, why has that changed so much? So, is it because they start younger in the process of, just being interns and, going to get coffee sooner, or, just there's much more access to these younger guys that give them the ability, Coach Mac, to be head coaching material? Because I don't feel like, years back, 20 years ago, you had a 30-year-old other than Coach Tomlin, getting a position like this in these NFL franchises. Why is that risk being taken more often these days, Coach?
Well, there's more. First of all, there's more opportunities. I said this before too. When it took me. I mean, first of all, it used to be very hard to get into the league as a coach. Extremely hard.
Absolutely.
Most places only had 6 or 7 coaches at the time. Now you got 27 and 28. So just with the numbers, number one, you're dealing with more people. And the other thing is, I mean, it's just like anything else. Some people fast track quicker than others, but I mean, still, I mean, you've got some of the top guys that are involved right now in interviewing for these jobs. I mean, how old's Harbaugh? 63.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just a mixture of people. It just depends on timing and the mixture of people, and it's not so much young versus old. It's just the opportunities that are out there to get into the league right now, Ramon. Though it used to be a lot harder to get into the league just as an entry level coach, just because of the numbers. As I said, 6 or 7 people on staff. Now with 27 or 28 on the staff, I mean, the numbers just tell you that there's going to be more opportunities.
Coach Mack at Titans Radio, presented by Two Rivers Ford, our guest. Mack, with the ability to do Zoom interviews in a preliminary round and then bring coaches back for in-person interviews, how has that changed this process, Mack, where teams get different kinds of conversations? They get a lot of time with these candidates. How has that adjusted the process of head coaching interviews from the candidate perspective, but also from a team's perspective?
Well, you can cover a lot of people. I mean, with Zoom, I mean, that technology. I mean, if you just do 3 a day at 3 hours a day, I mean, that's 9 hours, but that's 3 guys that you can preliminarily talk to. I've told you before that when I was doing it, what they would do is send a film crew to you. Send a film crew from the league office to you, and then you would sit down, and they would have and somebody from the league office with a camera crew would film a 45-minute interview, and then load it up and send it to the league office, and the league office would disperse it to teams to look at. That's the way that you got the preliminary looks then. So if you felt like you were on a fast track and you had to be invited to do it, I mean, I did it 3 times. You had to be invited to do it. And that's the way you did it then. Now with Zoom, the technology is so much different now than it used to be, but a lot of that comes from during the COVID years. I mean, you're running this league off of Zoom during the COVID years, so that's changed a lot of it.
Coach Mack, obviously Ramon and I have talked a ton about Mike Tomlin over the last 24 and 48 hours, even before he was officially stepping down as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wanted to give you the chance to talk about Coach Tomlin, Mack, and just what you know about him and respect about him as someone that had such a long period of sustained excellence. Mack, put in perspective, if you will, for us, just how incredible that is. 19 straight seasons of 500 or better, and what stands out to you about Mike Tomlin's tenure in Pittsburgh?
Well, first of all, Mike Tomlin was a guy that was a surprise hire when he was hired. It was one of those first guys that was hired very, very young, without a lot of experience. And of course, the fact that he was hired by a franchise that historically has stayed with their head coach for a long time. What Mike T did was outstanding. I mean, to be able to go that long in the league without a losing season, to me, that's a huge, huge accomplishment. And in this day and age, people say, well, if you don't win a championship, you're not any good. That's a lie. To me, Mike Tomlin was the epitome of what you wanted as a head coach in this league. And he proved himself over and over and over again. I got much respect for Mike T and for what he did.
No doubt about it. Coach Mack, man, this upcoming weekend is a lot of good football on the television. This Buffalo-Denver game is going to be fascinating. You got Bo Nix in a real big situation, number 1 overall seed in the AFC, man, and you got a banged-up Josh Allen going to Denver. Just in general, Mack, how do you view this matchup for a first-timer in this position for Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos up against a very seasoned Josh Allen?
I've seen the Denver Broncos up close and in person.
Yeah.
We saw that first game of the year, right? And they've only gotten better. They play excellent defense. They have all year, and you've got you got a head coach that's been there before, out there at Denver. I really and Buffalo, to me, Buffalo is really hanging on, and to me, Buffalo goes as Josh Allen goes. Yeah. I mean, that he was a horse last week. I mean, they rode that horse last week. How much longer can they do that? But I like Denver in that game because Denver, to me, is an overall really good football team.
No doubt. Coach Mack, on the NFC side of things, man, I know it's not much that shock you. It shocks me just a little bit, man, the way the Chicago Bears are able to just pull out wins like this. The shock factor, I guess, for myself was watching the young quarterback, Caleb Williams, man, make throws and be poised in these situations to kind of generate a comeback the way they did this weekend, man. What have you thought about this Chicago Bears just team this year with their head coach, man, just really leaning into the rivalry side of Bears versus Green Bay also?
Well, that whole Bears versus Green Bay thing, Ramon's real.
I know.
I lived that for 10 years. I mean, so that's 20 times I've been involved in that, and I was with it at the core of it. I mean, it's real. I mean, it's a respectful hate. It really is, because you can't have played 100 years against one another. There's tradition, with that thing. Now, what Chicago's doing right now, they're catching a heater right now. And the other thing is they've got confidence now. They've come back in a couple of games where it looked like that they were dead and out of it. And so, to me, they've got a lot of, if you want to call it, mojo going right now. And as long as that young quarterback can pull some of those plays out like he had to do last week, well, then they have a chance. But people lose sight of the fact that they play really good defense up there in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I lived that for 10 years. They understand what good defense is in Chicago, and those fans can taste that right now. I think Chicago is one of the hottest teams going right now in the NFC.
Yeah.
Coach Dave McGinnis, Two Rivers Ford, Titans Radio, joining us. Coach, Texans and Patriots Sunday at 2:00. Only 4 starting quarterbacks under the age of 25 have beaten the number 1 total defense in a playoff game in the last 40 seasons. C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Tim Tebow, and Tom Brady. Drake May looks to join that list against C.J. Stroud this weekend when his Patriots take on the Texans. What impresses you the most, Mac, about the way this Texans defense is playing right now?
They're really good. I mean, they're really good. I mean, and look, they built that defense when they were going through that period down there in Houston where they were winning 2 and 3 games a year. But they drafted very, very well, and they built that defense up. That defense is as good a defense as there is right now. You can't find a weakness with their defense. And plus, they have depth. They have depth on defense. And what they did last week, I mean, we watched it, twice when the Titans played it. They're just really, really good on defense, and that defense can carry any team. I was on a team in Chicago that the defense carried that team for a lot of years. That defense down there in Houston right now, they can carry that team.
Coach Mack, the Seattle Seahawks have also had a defense of that caliber this year, and they get the 49ers Saturday night. Kyle Shanahan has averaged only 18 points per game and 4 tries against Mike Macdonald. That's the fewest among 16 head coaches that Shanahan has played 3 times or more. What is so impressive to you about Mike Macdonald's scheme, just the way that he's got that Seattle defense playing? Because it is no small feat, Mac, as you know, to hold a Kyle Shanahan offense down the way that he has.
Yeah, and I'm impressed with what Kyle Shanahan has done because, I mean, he has done it with bits and pieces. I mean,
right.
He's lost player after player. I mean, real players, not just position holders. He's lost real players, and he continues to get it done. Seattle is really sneaky good. I mean, when they came here for that summer and worked out here, you could tell that that's a very solid team. And defensively, I was in the NFC West for a lot of years, and Seattle is up there. I mean, they're a long way away, and sometimes they kind of get lost in the mix. I mean, they're up there in Russia. But they've got a really, really good football team, and I think McDonald has done a great job with that team.
Coach Mac.
The Siberia Seahawks with Mike McDonald.
That was good,
I
man.
love it.
Who'd ever thought the Indiana Hoosiers, Coach Mac, a known basketball school, will be playing for a national championship on Monday night against the U, a storied football franchise
like
in
a Disney
college.
movie.
Yeah, it is. Mac, what?
It's a movie. It's real life Hoosiers.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is.
But it boils down to this. First of all, I mean, I worked with Signetti's brother at the Rams, for a lot of years. That's a football family, and here's the thing too. I mean, he comes from JMU, brings a bunch of guys with him. He knows the kind of players that he needs. That is as well coached a football team. As well coached a football team. Fundamentally, if you sit down and break the film down, they don't do a whole lot to beat themselves. It's a fabulous story. But to me, two things. They understand talent acquisition, understand talent evaluation, and then they coach the hell out of those guys. You can tell.
Yes, they do.
Go Dukes.
Yes, they do,
JMU
Coach Mac. We're going to get a real opportunity to see how real it is and see if Buck Rising really is an Indiana fan, Coach Mac. We'll see.
Well, look, Buck Rising, we know that Buck Rising is one of the first ones to jump on a bandwagon. So.
It's true.
But hey, they got a huge bandwagon to jump on there. It's a great story.
Yeah.
In collegiate football, and look, that shows you how much collegiate football has changed.
Yeah.
If you now understand talent acquisition and you understand talent evaluation and also asset allocation that is college football now, you can flip a program pretty quick. They are a great example of it. I'm very impressed with what they've done at Indiana.
Coach Mack, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, joins us Thursdays at 7:20. Thank you as always, Mac. We'll do it again next week.
Mac.
Guys, it's a pleasure. Just keep your eye on what's going on because there's a lot going on.
We will. Absolutely.
See you.
All right. There's Coach Mack here with us this
Coach
morning.
Mac is always good. All right, so speaking of that game, I know we're going to discuss it later on Monday, I'm sure. But
sure.
Indiana has the largest living alum in America, whatever that means.
How old is he or she?
I don't know.
Where'd you? Okay, well,
I heard it yesterday. Somebody mentioned this.
How are you going to tell me they have the oldest living alumnus?
The largest living alum.
The biggest.
The biggest. The largest. Yeah. I didn't
I
like you usually hear these things. I looked it up too for whatever it's worth. Indiana University now reports more than 805,000
Oh, I thought
living alum.
I thought you meant they have the oldest living person that went to their school.
No, this ain't
like it's
Mama
Ethel
Jane, whatever.
in
At 104. She's still kicking.
Today she spends her time puttering around Poughkeepsie.
I said
her name is Ethel Stevens. She's 120.
She's rooting for the Hoosiers.
Well, it might be somebody that's doing
I thought this was like when you see the segment on the Today Show of like, and we say hello to Charles, who lives in Bloomington. He turns 111 today.
Listen, somebody watching The Price is Right is probably an Indiana fan that's 112.
Did Indiana win again?
Yeah, it's been the answer weekly.
Gertrude has lived through 3 Indiana Bowl wins. Today, she watches the game from her home just outside of Louisville.
She still has.
Congratulations to Gertrude.
Still has a bench on campus there. Yes, absolutely. the largest living alumni, 805,000. Listen,
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Apparently, they took over the city of Atlanta, so I think a lot of stoplights and convenience stores were empty in Bloomington over the weekend.
CVS's and Walgreens, if they got the oldest living alum. Okay.
coming up.
This is what I'm telling you, man.
Coming up.
This is what I'm telling you.
It's a good little tangent for
It's
us to
real
go
life.
on the
Listen,
day where John Harbaugh has chosen.
That's why I was just, we deliver laughs on a Friday Junior.
Coming up, Ian Rappaport has gone on NFL Network and talked about where the Titans go next. We'll tell you what he had to say after this. Ramona Will rolls on a 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up a fast first 2 hours on this Thursday morning.
Yeah.
The biggest and the largest morning show in town. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, our producer.
That ain't a lie.
Ian Rappaport on Good Morning Football this morning asked about where the Titans go next, because if you went to bed early last night or are waking up late this morning, John Harbaugh is the next head coach of the New York Giants. We move forward. Ian Rappaport has this to say at NFL Network.
Come on.
In a moment.
He must be sifting through all those Indiana calls he's getting right now.
Ian's
talk
waking
about the
up.
playoffs eventually, I promise. Let's keep talking about the hiring. You guys mentioned the Giants' John Harbaugh hiring no doubt brings some credibility back to New York, the kind of hire where everyone hurries up their process and says, you know what, we got to make sure we follow all the rules, we do everything we need to do, so we are poised to make a move. That's where the Giants were. That's why the Giants, they fulfilled the requirements by the NFL. They were able to hire Harbaugh. The Tennessee Titans did the same thing for the possibility of hiring Harbaugh. Remember, they were supposed to visit with him this morning until the deal got out last night. So what this means is that the Tennessee Titans essentially go back to their process. They are going to interview a couple coaches later in the week. They got Robert Saleh. They got Mike McCarthy, the former Cowboys coach, the former Packers coach. They're going to bring in finalists next week and really just continue along with the process as it should be. It certainly seems to me right now like Harbaugh is the outlier. Hire him, do that deal, do the whole thing now, do it fast, because that's how quickly you had to strike. Everyone else will kind of go about the other 8 openings, and the Steelers are obviously just getting started with a little bit of a late start here this week. But everyone else will kind of go through the process, bring in finalists next week, and try to hire next week and probably into the following week before the Super Bowl. This was the only one, it seems, where there'd be a big flurry to make this happen.
There you go. That's new information from Ian Rappaport of NFL Media on NFL Network and Good Morning Football here today. Ramon, that was my question. I think that was the next logical place to go. Was this going to be a domino that would quickly encourage you to move to someone like Kevin Stefanski immediately? That does not today, as of 7:51, appear to be the case. Wait an hour, it might change. I don't know. But it does appear the Titans are going to stick to their process.
It shifts the focus, I guess, and of everybody involved in this. And also, too, with Stefanski. With Harbaugh being in that pool, what you don't want it to do is minimize every other candidate in this process also. And I think that's kind of what was happening. What was happening when you look at the way the Titans were about to pursue Harbaugh and the way the Giants pretty much closed in on him, is that was their man, and they weren't going to let him leave the building in a situation like this. They can slow walk. Although I will say this, if you have your guy, be aggressive about what you want moving forward. If it is Robert Saleh, figure out a way in which you guys can get together. You don't want him to lose because you want him to prove himself with that defense, that he's capable of, leading them further, because I don't think that defense has a whole lot of experience when it comes down to what they lost in the offseason this past year. But him proving how capable they are to get revenge against Seattle this weekend is going to be huge, because Seattle ran down on them when it came down to that Week 18 matchup against the 49ers. There's a little bit of get back you want to see Robert Saleh get. Now, if the Titans can speak to his agency and say, hey, we're really in on this, but we got to be patient and we got to understand, we got to know if he's serious about us, I think it's going to be crucial. But Stefanski and Mike McCarthy and Mike McDaniel also being a part of it, what I would tell Titans fans is this, though, too. Don't feel like you are getting left out if the Titans choose to slow walk this thing moving forward. It's best to just simply get it right, in my personal opinion.
Sure. 615-737-1045, our number. Julie is in Dixon up next. What's up, Julie?
Good morning. I have a question with all the names of coaches being bantered about. Each one has a different coaching style and a different skill set. What is the role of the players? Do they have any kind of input in what kind of coach or boss they want? Because they're the ones on the field, in the locker room, at practice. And I think these guys know what it takes to have a good football team. So I'm just wondering if they've been consulted at all, or if they're brought into the process at all.
No doubt.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate the call.
It's such a slippery slope
a great
because
question.
it's not a slippery slope, but you can say what you want as a head coach or a position coach, and it might not work out. I think the Titans asked the players last time around, what do you want in a head coach, post of Vrabel firing? And it was team camaraderie, somebody they can communicate with and all those types of things, and look how it bombed out. The point, Julie, to me is this about what the players' involvement is. They just want to be coached the right way. They can say what they're looking for, but this is where you got to trust the front office in saying we made the right pick or selection for what's going to build up this team in the right way, in my personal opinion. I'm into the players' input, but we're paid worker bees, man, to be completely honest with you.
Sure. Yeah, I think you certainly use players as recruiting tools. Clearly, the New York Giants did that by having John Harbaugh speak with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo in their facility yesterday as just quick hellos or introductions. But yeah, I think the type of player you are speaking of, Ramon, who has a legitimate say and who is seen as maybe a member of the committee that's not in the room is a player with the cachet of a Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
Someone who's been in the locker room, who has seen it done in multiple ways, who understands the culture, understands what the team needs, who's got long-standing cachet within the building.
No doubt.
Cam Ward obviously will be given the opportunity to give input as well. I think you have to start with, obviously, Jeffrey Simmons and talking about who has a say within the building.
The one change that I had was at a position coach. Well, I had a couple of them. The first one, nobody asked me a doggone thing because I was too young. Going from one coach to Munchak, we knew, I guess, for the most part, we were getting Mike Munchak. After Munch left, they did bring us in because I was in year 10 at the time and asked me about the new guy we was getting, Sean Surratt. How do we feel about him? And we gave our input as hey, we like this guy, we play for him and all that type of stuff. But it's just, honestly, for anybody who's asking those questions, it's a quick conversation. I'm actually shocked the Giants brought in Jackson Dart to have that conversation with Harbaugh. And maybe Harbaugh wanted to see him too. Who knows? But I'm a little shocked by it. But to be quite honest with you, it really don't matter because if that coach bombs whether the players love him or not, you're going to get fired regardless. Players just want to be coached and believe in somebody, Will. That's it. You want to be coached and not feel like you're playing for a village idiot or that you're a joke of a team. That's all you want, man, is knowing that my guy who's speaking to us understands what we need.
615-737-1045, a recap of everything you've missed if you're just now joining us. John Harbaugh's choice to pick the New York Giants, and why one columnist perfectly lays out the biggest reason why John Harbaugh made New York his number one pick and ultimately the pick of where he'd continue his coaching career. We'll tell you why next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Again, that is the website that you can use. You can type it in on your phone at your work desk right now, and it'll pop up for you. And what you'll see is this is a website that's designed to make sure you're taken care of. It's available to you Monday through Sunday, man, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same-day appointments will be available next day guaranteed. Look, if you're feeling a little bit under the weather, you can't seem to shake a cold, and you don't honestly want to go to a waiting room or urgent care, well, guess what? Medical House Calls will come to you, man. They have licensed physicians that will come to your house to take care of you, whether you need medications, whether you need a treatment plan or a full exam or just a simple evaluation to see what's going on with you, man. They handle these types of things. Or if you woke up this morning and recognize that the coach that you want isn't there and you need a booster, guess what? They will come and administer an IV to you, man, and make you feel better about yourself. They are by far one of the best companies around. I've personally used them. They've come to my house in Hendersonville and I had a sickness, and I'll be quite honest with you, knocked it out within the next 8 hours. I felt really good about myself, and it was lasting. For a company that you can trust that will fit into your schedule, and we understand how hard it is for you to get to the doctor sometime. Well, this is one that'll come to you. MedicalHouseCalls.com is the website. Or you can call or text them at 615-838-2375.
8:03, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. John Harbaugh is headed to New York to become the Giants' next head coach. Per Ian Rappaport this morning, the Giants will spend the morning finalizing a 5-year deal with former Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, making him one of the NFL's highest paid coaches. And according to Jordan Schultz this morning, Harbaugh's deal is expected to be 5 years with a total value around $100 million, which is $20 million per year. Also, per Diana Rossini, former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken is expected to join Harbaugh on the Giants staff. Also, according to Rossini, this was always the plan. And the head coaching search for the Titans, it will continue to push on as they will interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll on Friday, former Cowboys and Packers head coach Mike McCarthy this Saturday, and then 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, as well as former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon coming up on Sunday. In college hoops last night, number 10 Vanderbilt, after suffering their first loss of the season to Texas last night, 80-64, they are now sitting at 16-1 in their impressive start to the season to this point. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show starting right now. 104.5 The Zone. Welcome in to Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us as we kick off your Thursday morning and kick off Plan B. Ramon, is that fair to say? John Harbaugh's gone to the New York Giants. I don't know.
Plan B.
Albert Breer says that ownership was going to fly there. Chad Brinker, Mike Borgonzi. We knew Diana Rossini had tweeted yesterday that high-level Titans brass was getting ready to fly to Baltimore. We read between the lines this morning and thought that I imagine that means Amy.
Everybody.
We had people tracking planes yesterday on Twitter.
I love that. Oh, it made it to the NFL. Tracking planes did.
Oh, yeah.
It made it to the NFL.
I think it probably has.
Vols fans,
search.
be proud of yourselves. You hear me?
That is one of the side effects of Tennessee athletics being so competent. Mm-hmm. I've not tracked a plane in so long for a Tennessee coaching
Knock
search.
on wood, man. We don't need this type of stuff.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Yeah,
let me knock on wood right now.
You don't have to live. We're already dealing with the loss of Harbaugh. I said that like he just died. Well, some people feel like it with the coaching search.
Do we have Sarah McLachlan music back there,
Dead to
Justin?
me.
We give a eulogy to John Harbaugh as a Titans coaching candidate?
No, you can't view Harbaugh's like choice as this. I'm going to tell y'all what y'all got to do as the music come on.
Eulogize John Harbaugh, Ramon.
Here's what I'm telling y'all. Y'all, like, this is what happened. You didn't know he was going to be available to you, and you got excited. And I'm all right with excitement in this world of Jen saying, hey, yeah, we can go grab him. But here's the issue. The issue is this. Sega Genesis and Nintendo both dropped systems. And you know what it was? You thought for Christmas, you were going to get both of them. You know what you got? You got the Nintendo. All right? The Sega Genesis goes to somebody else, all right? But you know what's going to happen, Will, at the end of this? You're going to be super happy with that Nintendo. Because here's what I found out. Super Mario Brothers is way fun. Way more fun, okay? Funner than Sonic the Hedgehog, all right? That little that's what you get with Sonic. But we get levels, okay, with Mario. You don't get both systems. You get one. Enjoy your Nintendo, good people.
There you go.
I'm the nerd talking about the Nintendo.
Go climb a tree outside.
You can't get both game systems, okay? You will get a Nintendo. You're going to sit in front of the TV, and whoever this coach is, you're going to be entertained by it.
It's fair.
Is that fair?
Yeah, it's very fair.
It's probably bad. Somebody's listening to me right now is probably saying, you suck. By the way, shout out my guy, Port Vul, yesterday. He said he listens to us often, man.
Oh, lovely.
And, I was in there just, looking around the liquor store. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that today.
There is no R in stow when it's behind liquor. Everyone knows that.
or you or R, it's just liquor store.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ian O'Connor is a longtime columnist in New York covering the New York Giants. He writes for The Athletic, and he lays out what ultimately made the difference for the New York Giants, for John Harbaugh. He's had a ton of info on this, and quite frankly, is probably the reason why my screen time is going to be way higher this week. That and Tennessee quarterback transfer portal stuff. Says John Harbaugh had the Giants atop his potential list even before he got fired. It was discussed. He knew it was possible the Ravens would let him go. In his mind, the Giants in Dart and the storied history of the franchise in the big city made the most sense as the next stop. He added earlier this morning as well, from the day he got fired, John Harbaugh was thinking about leading the New York Giants out of that tunnel. He was picturing himself in that hat and in that jacket. The history of the league means a lot to him. Frankly, it always sounded like the other contenders had no chance.
Dang.
He writes. It's what we said this morning. What do the halls smell like in the Giants facility? Smell like history. Smell like Lombardi's. There are certain things within the framework and the foundation of the New York Football Giants as a franchise that, unfortunately, you can't compete with. And that's no knock on what the Titans have to sell, because, Ramon, I still believe, and I will die on this hill, I don't care, the Titans have a better situation to sell John Harbaugh right now than the Giants do. But that's not all that matters. And John Harbaugh might also not agree with that, because he may have a different evaluation than I do. John Harbaugh knows a lot more about football than I do. He's forgotten more about football than I have. So obviously, he's allowed to have a different opinion. But it is the New York Football Giants, Ramon. It is a brand that has a lot of equity in that city, in this country. True. It's a big market. That's hard to compete with. And that's just the reality of the situation. That's okay, and there are plenty of other good names out there.
There is, and that's all I'm saying by my little Sega versus Nintendo analogy. Like, the thing that you want out of this, man, is for this coach to come in and do the job and do it well. Do it better than what last tenure, what Coach Brian Callahan respectively was. That's what you're asking for. Was John Harbaugh the white whale? Absolutely. Did you want him? Yes. Would it have given you face recognition across the league? Yeah, because you were chosen. But here's the thing, though, too, man. And I say this with all due respect to this franchise, to the players, to the ownership, and to the front office. There just needs to be more consistency of winning and a history of showing that everything is aligned. I'm not saying that played a part in it as far as the front office of Borgonzia, who's in control.
Because that's true for the Giants, too.
But here's absolute. Joe Shane, we spoke about.
They've got more instability right now with their front office than the Titans do.
They got issues.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
For sure.
But here's the other part of it, though, too, Will. Outside of Nashville, the understanding of involvement, that's where that has to be cleaned up.
What do you mean by involvement?
As far as the hiring and firings, the instabilities and stuff like that. I feel like it's been more negative, man, maybe because we covered this team. It's been more negative about the Titans front office and structure than it has been almost anybody else. That's my opinion on the way I view it. And you just got to get over that hurdle of showing consistency, of showing that it won't be quick turnover, even though the Giants have dealt with the exact same thing too. That to me, I think, is when you're a middle market. I don't know if the Nashville's a small market anymore, but when you're a middle market and you don't have the history,
right?
Like, these are the things I don't think this matter, but it might to some. And the fact that Vrabel, for whatever it's worth, goes to New England and immediately turns them around. Yeah. It's like, well, you had the coach right there.
Right.
Those things have to get cleaned up.
100%.
They have to.
100%. Gavin is in Lafayette up next. What's up, Gavin?
What's up, Gavin?
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, normally a podcast guy, but finally get the chance to call in this morning. Personally, I do like Kevin Stefanski for the Titans. I always liked him even when Harbaugh was available. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I don't really care about getting the big name. I just would want to get the right name, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Amen.
I feel like, especially when Harbaugh came available, he got fired for a reason. He's a great coach, not saying he's not. But he got fired for a reason there. He couldn't get it done with all the talent the Ravens have. We're nowhere near that and years from ever getting to that point. I think, it'd take a while to get there. And, like I said, I just want someone who's right for the job, not someone who everybody thinks is the best available. But that's all I got. Like I said, big-time fan, listen to the podcast every single day. Y'all have a good one.
You too, Gavin.
Thank you, Gavin. Appreciate the call, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. We really don't know. Picking the coach is step one of a lot of steps that are going to have to be taken in order to make this thing better. I will make a comparison here, Ramon, and it's not a perfect comparison because it's college to NFL, and it's a coach that I don't think was ever as much in the mix. But let's go back to 2020, February. Tennessee hires Josh Heupel, January, February that winter. James Franklin was the guy that was seen as the big name. And obviously he was far from getting fired. He was also far from taking Penn State to a 12-team college football playoff semifinal. But a lot of the buzz immediately was, can Tennessee go replace Jeremy Pruitt with James Franklin? That's the big name. That's the big guy that, we think he's interested. Well, obviously we know what happened. He ended up staying at Penn State. Tennessee hired Josh Heupel. This season, Josh Heupel had a job. James Franklin got fired.
Facts.
A lot of us were kind of wait and see on Josh Heupel because he wasn't seen as this slam dunk candidate. Tennessee had NCAA issues, all these things. Tennessee built a framework around Josh Heupel with NIL, with staff money, with recruiting resources for him to be successful. They surrounded him with things that helped him become a coach that led Tennessee back to a New Year's Six bowl game in a college football playoff. Not 100% the same thing. It's NFL to college. I get that it's a little bit of apples to oranges. The point is, we don't always know what these coaches are going to be like when they're hired. And sometimes the ones that are under the radar are the best ones that fit behind the scenes because we're not in the meetings. What did we think Mark Byington was when he took the Vanderbilt job? We didn't know. They got the James Madison coach. All right, we'll see. Vanderbilt's the best team in the SEC. I know they lost last night, but we don't know. Surround these guys with tools and resources to be successful. And a lot of coaches could maybe succeed here if they have said resources. Not just John Harbaugh.
No doubt.
I know that's coping a little bit. But again, we said it yesterday before he was even hired by the Giants. John Harbaugh's not even a perfect candidate.
Right.
There is no perfect candidate. There's also no totally flawed candidate.
No doubt.
Let's wait and see. 615-737-1045. Thursday, 3 picks coming up. We'll preview NFL divisional round football. Maybe make a pick on the national championship game as well. Plus, more of your phone calls. Where should the Titans go next now that John Harbaugh is off the board and headed to Jersey? We'll get more of your phone calls up next. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone rolls on in hour 3. Thursday 3 moves up an hour this morning because Stoney Keeley of Football and Other F Words will join us at 9:20. We will make our picks in just a moment. But first, we give you the floor to talk about where the Titans go next now that John Harbaugh is off the board. 615-737-1045, the number. Joe the Trucker up next. Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Big Joe.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing this morning?
We're great.
Good. I used to be a Mario fan myself, but then I discovered Crash Bandicoot. You ever played Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Way better than Mario.
Stop, Joe. No, you used to be better than this. You called early this week, and you used to be better than this, man. Mario is elite.
I got plenty of time for both.
What? You play both? You got both systems?
No, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Who's to say?
Maybe. Who knows? Joe, what you got for us, man, other than that bad take right there?
I'm kind of glad that Harbaugh went to New York. Because at the end of the day, this is a thing. You know what I mean? These coaches that come from winning teams go to losing teams and make themselves look really bad. We got the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers wasn't a coach, but, went to Pittsburgh, went to the Jets, made himself look bad. And the thing is, Harbaugh kind of had some similarities with Aaron Rodgers because, his list of demands, you know what I mean? So, that just hasn't turned out well for really anyone in the NFL. It didn't make the Jets a winning team. I'm kind of glad that he went to New York. I'm with Gavin. I like Stefanski. I also really like Saleh. So that's what I got.
I like it. Thank you, Joe. For me, it's Stefanski and Saleh.
Stefanski and Saleh.
In either order. To me, they're 1A, 1B, and I don't have a huge... They're kind of both 1A. They're equal to me. I'd have the equal amount... I'd have an equal amount of excitement for either of those two guys.
I'm going to do what I said. I got Stefanski and Nagy.
Okay.
Oh, I know that makes people hate me right there.
Why do you put Matt Nagy on the same level as Kevin Stefanski? For those who are going to be not understanding it.
Because I can remove the turmoil in Chicago. I can look at him and I can also listen to him in an article we discussed with Dan Pompei, and he said he's not wanting to be the play caller. Will he have his fingers on the play call sheet? Yes. And I know who was it, Steve Palazzolo, that said we shouldn't attach, a coach's success to a premier quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. Here's the thing about it. If he's removing himself from the play calling, the hands-on aspect of running the offense and allowing somebody to curate Cam Ward moving forward and just watching it from a distance, right? I think there's value in that. I think it's value in a guy that understands that, hey, I screwed up. His ego got in the way in Chicago, his inability to listen to players and then listen to them too much. And then now he's taking the humble approach of saying, I've watched it. I'm better off as an overseer and a manager as opposed to being the direct guy that's calling the shots. I don't think this is a dumb idea at all when it comes down to Matt Nagy in this situation. If you are considering this situation Mike McDaniel, then you need to consider Matt Nagy, is the way I look at this situation. Because to me, I personally don't think Mike McDaniel is smooth enough around the edges to be in a position to save this franchise. And you know what? He might get hired, and I'm 100% wrong, but I'm okay with that. But the way I view this, we had Julie call in earlier and said, how would you view it from a player's perspective, basically? And I think Mike McDaniel is a tad bit immature for a job of this magnitude.
So I'm gonna compare two coaches for you.
Go ahead.
Both of these coaches were offensive coordinators for one season before they got head coaching jobs for 4 years. Their records, 35-33, 34-31. Coach A went 35-33. His offenses, when he was a head coach, ranked 11th, 2nd, 22nd, and 25th in his 4 seasons. The other coaches, his offenses in scoring, 29th, 22nd, 27th. in his seasons as a head, or excuse me, 9th, 29th, 22nd, 27th in his 4 seasons as a head coach. Both of them let go in year 4. Again, Coach A, 35 and 33. Coach B, 34 and 31. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Coach A had more consistency, I felt like.
Yeah. Well, similar.
Better. Yeah. He had better success. This is the way I look at this one. I'm probably going to stick with Coach A.
It's Mike McDaniel is Coach A. Matt Nagy is Coach B.
I figured that would be the case.
They have almost the same exact record, Herba. To your point. Mike McDaniel went 35 and 33 in 4 seasons, had 1 year of OC experience. The difference is he hasn't had time to really kind of sit on it and then go learn again as an OC. Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel hasn't.
The difference between Matt Nagy and Mike McDaniel, A, is one of them doesn't wear joggers and nice jewelry and clothes and isn't funny. I mean, respectfully, the way Mike McDaniel kind of speaks. And Matt Nagy's had more time to learn and to go back and be an OC again. Mike McDaniel hasn't had that yet.
He's going to jump right back in it.
That's what I don't understand. We got a tweet earlier this morning. Will hit us up at JLoma72. Because we asked, should the Titans immediately pivot to Kevin Stefanski? He said, this shows a poor understanding of what Titans fans want. I would be the most appealing candidate to the fan base right now is McDaniel. Why is Mike McDaniel seen in such a positive light and Matt Nagy isn't, when their resumes are almost identical?
How far has Mike McDaniel ever gone into the postseason?
He's never won a postseason game.
Never won one.
0-2. Matt Nagy is also 0-2.
0-2
Again,
also.
Their resumes are nearly identical. Both of them had some success with their offenses at the beginning of their tenures that ultimately declined as their defenses struggled, as their quarterbacks that they were a part of developing struggled, and the next guys that they brought in at quarterback weren't successful enough. The only difference is that Nagy had another try at drafting a quarterback in Justin Fields in the very last year.
What's interesting, though, too, like as far as Chicago is concerned with Matt Nagy, is we saw a direct correlation of why his failures were a part of it, too, and that's because he lost his premier defensive coordinator. That right there, I think
Fangio.
Nick Fangio.
Yeah.
That's the name I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about it. Miami in 2024 had as far as points are ranked, the 10th ranked defense according to Pro Football Reference, which is where I'm at for a quick study. His offense was ranked 22nd in the league. Now, you can blame that on Tua or whatever the case may be, but he still wasn't able to unlock Tua to get him to that point. He had some good years with Tua, absolutely, no doubt statistically, but in general, he's had, in my personal opinion, Vic Fangio's another defensive coordinator he had. That's the guy, then. Go get Nick Fangio, whoever the coach is going to be. He went 11-6 in 2023 with Nick Fangio as his DC. You know who also had a real good season with Vic Fangio?
Who's that?
Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Both of these guys need strong defensive coordinators.
Right. 100%. That is the risk you're taking with any of these.
Who's got Vic
of
Fangio?
These head coach candidates who are so one side of the ball.
Fangio's in Philly.
Philly.
Right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Still him. If you're really gangster about it, go get him now.
That's a challenge. That's a challenge, though, if he's under
that's right.
contract
You can't just pull
and
him.
you can't just.
They got to say yes.
Right.
I'm very brash about that. That's all it is. I'm at this point where it's more than one answer to this big question that the Titans got. It is a strong staff.
And maybe you can let us know, too, because, again, I'm posing the question. Why is Mike McDaniel seen so much more favorably than Matt Nagy? 615-737-1045. I'm not trying to make one declarative statement either way. I'm open because I'm just struggling to understand why McDaniel is seen as such a can't-miss head coach candidate by so much of social media.
And don't give me he's cool.
Maybe I'm reading too much social media, but again, I'm open to understanding what I'm missing.
On the surface level, I think in a fan perspective, it's the fun level of the offense of what it could be with Cam Ward.
Is the Chiefs not fun? Are the Chiefs' offense not fun?
Well, not this year, but also neither was the Dolphins.
Fair. Yeah, exactly.
They are very comparable, but I think what McDaniel is viewed as maybe as an offensive guru, and he just had a bad go of it with the quarterback, but also so did Nagy. They are very comparable. I think just one's viewed in a little bit different context because of the offensive potential. Young head coach, young quarterback.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's go back to the phones. Justin from the Liquor Store. That's how it's written on the call screen.
That's how we got to say
There's no R in
I appreciate you saying it like
What's
that.
up, Justin?
What's up, Justin?
What's going on, guys? Ramon, man. What's going on? Hope you like what I suggested to you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Just want to say, I think, and call me crazy, but how important is it for us as Titans fans to, A, look in the mirror and actually see how attractive we are as a destination? So I think that when we were looking at Harbaugh, we were like looking at the finest girl on the schoolyard, but we did one sit up to, we didn't take care of our skin. We didn't go to therapy. We are a battered, non-foundational franchise, and we're looking at the prettiest girl in school thinking she's going to come our way. It's not going to happen. And two, how important is establishing culture in these Matt Nagy versus Mike McDaniels? Who do you think is going to establish a culture here that can actually stick and that we can build upon?
No doubt.
I'll hang up and listen.
Great question, Justin.
That's Justin from Total Wine right there. I was out there this weekend. What up, Justin? I got some tequila out there, by the way. That store's always busy. It's the culture part for me. That's why I mentioned the age component. And by the way, Nagy and McDaniel are both at a prime age where they can see this thing through. The culture resetting. What was Miami's culture? I guess the culture in Kansas City was set for the most part. He's intriguing. Mike McDaniel is very much so. I just wonder, has he had enough, enough bruises to kind of reshape himself as a coach, as a leader like that? I got to reach out to my connects, I guess, with Miami to see what type of guy was he. Mm-hmm. Did he command the room, or did he just kind of let the room, trust in him to just be good on Sundays? Those are the questions that I have, because this team is young here. It needs a lot of guidance. It needs a strong voice, and it needs somebody that's proven that they can believe in. This ain't like middle school football with what I'm saying, but the mindset of players remain the same, Will.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the question on McDaniel, who is seen as a young, scheme-dependent, I'll get guys open, it's going to be fun coach. Who didn't play in the NFL. I know Nagy didn't either, but McDaniel is seen as young, fun, exciting. Can he be a tough guy? Can he lead a locker room? Can he lead an organization? I don't think that's been 100% proven by what he did and didn't do in his time in Miami. Yeah. I have the same question about Matt Nagy. I am struggling to separate the two because I think their resumes are so similar. And I prefer Nagy as a head coach candidate because, again, as I said a minute ago, I think he's had more time to sit on it and understand what didn't work and see it from a different perspective. Yeah. Mike McDaniel had 1 year as a play caller before he took over in Miami, just like Matt Nagy, who has now gone on this tour this offseason to explain why I wasn't ready. I'm ready now. Because I sat down with Laura Oakman and went through hours of 40 people anonymously talking about what I did wrong. Yep. I've talked with Andy Reid. I've seen now as Andy Reid's right-hand man the value of why I need someone who's done this job before to sit in my office and tell me, Matt, I do it this way. And then I'm going to do it a different way. Mike McDaniel hasn't had that time yet. I think Mike McDaniel could be a fine candidate. I'm not going to totally be out on him if he is the hire. I just don't understand why fans are so in on one and so out on the other, where we had a commenter on YouTube yesterday saying, I'm going to Shiano Sunday, the Titans facility, if they hire Matt Nagy. That's what I can't wrap my head around because I can't understand that point of view. David is in Lebanon up next. Good morning, David.
Morning, David.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
Buddy, I've been sitting and listening, and I understand everybody wants the big name. Mm-hmm. I want somebody that's wanting to come to Tennessee, that's wanting to take charge, make this team what it can be. I see so much possibility with our team, and I want that coach to come in and say, heck yeah, I want that team. I'm going to coach it, and I'm going to rock this city. Mm-hmm. And also, the history of our team, it is strong too. if it wasn't for Bud Adams, there wouldn't be no AFL because he rocked that. He came through and he made it a football league, and then they joined the NFL. These coaches need to look and see what the possibilities of this team is. Cam Ward is it. He's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played if they just give him the right coach.
Thank you,
No
David.
doubt about it,
Appreciate
Dave.
the
That's
call.
a strong endorsement
One of
right
the greatest
there, Dave.
quarterbacks ever. All right. I have what David's having.
Listen, I'm not going to push back on David. He was too convincing for me. I believe him.
Nolan in Nashville. What's up, Nolan?
What's up, Nolan?
Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
Not much, man. How are
We're
you?
waiting for you to tell us, Nolan. I need it today.
Man, that's what's up, man. Look, I'm calling to, I can't say that I'm familiar with every single head coach candidate, right?
Right.
I would assume that, the Nagy guy kind of seemed like he's not in Borgonzi's back pocket, but he's the closest thing that Borgonzi is familiar with, man. So that's probably going to be more than likely what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to say this, man. I think the culture is taking a real bad hit, man. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to ask both of y'all, if you guys were in John Harbaugh's shoes, let's just say you the big dog, right? You the big dog. Everybody's after you, man. And, a network like Tennessee, you have a lot of these, whether it's radio shows or whether it's podcasts, just pretty much, not wanting to believe that Harbaugh would choose to come here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for me, okay, if you're going to think that, he's not going to come here. He's just, and maybe they were right the whole time, right? You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, I just feel like, if everybody's going to kind of be negative and think that he wouldn't choose here, then why would the big dog choose to come here? If that's the mentality of the fans or, radio shows and just networks in general in regards to this franchise, man. So just something to think about, man. I also think that the citizens of Nashville need a little more stake in the franchise, man, so that we can help set the culture straight. That's all I got.
Sure.
No doubt.
Thank you, Nolan. Appreciate the call. More of your phone calls, 615-737-1045. We will get to our Thursday 3 picks. So many of you wanting to chime in on the Titans and the head coach search that obviously we prioritized that this morning. Heck, I was 0-3, so you need to know what to not pick because you'll just want to go against me from what I did last week in postseason football. More of your phone calls, more of your reaction. If you're going to explain to us why Mike McDaniel is such a good head coach candidate, we're open to your thoughts. 615-737-1045 as Hour 3 continues next. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. We will get to our Thursday 3 picks at the top of the hour. But we got a lot of you who want to get in here talking about the next head coach and where you go next now that John Harbaugh is going to be the head coach of the New York Giants. For what it's worth, Brian hit us up and said he was joking, saying I wouldn't really Shiano Sunday if we hired Matt Nagy.
Yeah, no, he going. He's going to do it.
The truth of the joke is that many of you are very out on Matt Nagy in the F&M Bank chat regularly. Very out. Let's go to the phones. I'm open to be convinced on Mike McDaniel. For fans who want Mike McDaniel as head coach,
do it.
I'm open-minded through the whole process.
I am too.
We have been through from the beginning. What do you like about him? Patrick is in Nashville. What's up, Patrick?
What's up, Patrick?
What's going on, fellas? Happy Thursday.
You too.
I had a question. So the question I have is, if you take the success Mike McDaniel had in Miami and you put it in Chicago, or you swap just the coaches when they were coaching in their cities, Mike McDaniel in Miami and Matt Nagy in Chicago, and you reverse the roles, would everybody still be jumping on the Mike McDaniel train if he had the same failures as Matt Nagy did? And if we're talking about culture, I don't think there's a better culture to learn from than the Kansas City Chiefs, which we're trying to already embody with the staff that we've got in place.
Yeah,
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
The way you phrase that, like as big of a blow up it was in Chicago, yeah, I think they'd feel the same way about Mike McDaniel if the roles were flipped. I do.
And I think the double doink again, Nick Suss said it yesterday, and I thought he verbalized it very well. We remember Matt Nagy in a moment and in his reactions and in his jaw being dropped after Cody Parkey double doinked a chip shot field goal to beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home in the divisional round of the playoffs. That's not fair to Matt Nagy. There are fair criticisms of Matt Nagy's time in Kansas City and Chicago. He'd be the first to tell you if you just read or listen to any of the interviews he's done recently. But I think he gets unfairly judged by that moment. Not a perfect candidate. I get it. Not my first choice. But I do think there's some unfair criticism of Matt Nagy. AJ's in Tullahoma up next. What's up, AJ?
What's up, AJ?
Hey, yeah, how we doing this morning, gentlemen?
We're great.
It's Adrian, by the way.
What's up, Adrian?
My apologies.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm calling because, honestly, I don't see a better candidate out there than Robert Saleh. And the reason why I say that is because Robert Saleh has proved to be a leader of men. And that's what we need right now. We need a leader of men. We need somebody who's played the game, who's strong, who the players see as a strong personality, who listens to them, but also tells them what they need to do and when to do it. I think Robert Saleh was undermined by Aaron Rodgers when the whole time he was with the Jets. I think, Aaron Rodgers has proved that he undermines the coaches whatever location he goes to now. So I think the only reason why he didn't undermine Tomlin was because Tomlin had been there so long in Pittsburgh, is such a stronger culture. But I think that's the kind of player that the kind of coach that we need to bring in. I don't think there's anybody we could bring in that Jeff Simmons would be more happy with.
And Saleh.
Very fair. Appreciate the call. I agree with all your reasons why you like Saleh.
Yeah.
I like him for all the same reasons.
I'm trying to find out real quick who was his coordinator. So Mike LaFleur was his offensive, because he's a defensive coach. I want to see who was his offensive staff. Mike LaFleur was his offensive coordinator in 21. Matt Burke was game manager, and, he had some other people on his staff. LaFleur in 22. Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, because the Hackett was Rodgers' guy.
And Todd Downing as pass game coordinator, and then Hackett and Downing again.
You brought up Matt Burke, too, and for those who are unfamiliar, that is now the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans, who is getting head coaching interviews, who was on that staff with Saleh for just one season in 2021
he was.
as game management coach. Yeah. Former Titans assistant as well, Matt Burke, who was here from 06 to 08.
Yeah, it's just a lot to unpack with these candidates, man, because it's so flawed.
For sure.
Mike in Hendersonville with Nagy.
Let's go to Mike in Hendersonville.
Pro or anti-Nagy before you take Mike's call? You think this pro-Nagy or anti-Nagy before we take Mike's call?
I'm going to guess anti.
I'm going to guess anti.
Mike, are you pro or anti Matt Nagy?
Where we at, Mike?
I should be anti, but I'm pro in this situation coming from Chicago, lifelong fan.
Okay.
I think he's got more of an ability to kind of build an offense as far as the culture goes. I keep hearing the term culture. He did win AP Coach of the Year, I believe, in 2018.
Correct.
And I know that Mike McDaniels is the flair and he's got the fun to him, but I do believe, and it hurts my heart, and don't tell my Chicago friends this, but I think Nagy would be a better fit down here, especially some of the looking in the mirror that he's apparently done.
Thank you for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
I know we're up against it. I had many questions to ask him, like, and I won't do it. This is what we do the show for. I don't know about Nagy. I truly don't. I don't. And
you like him, though.
I do like him. I like the idea of him sitting back and managing this team.
My biggest concern with Matt Nagy is the decline the Chiefs offense has had since he came back. And it's not a concern as much as it is. That's the question that I would need to get a good answer for is what's happened over the last 2 years, because they've been in contention for Super Bowls more because of that defense than the offense. And I think, too, the point that Steve Palazzolo made the other day is a very valid one. I'm wary of candidates who are tied to elite quarterbacks, because a ton of coaches would be successful coaches because they get to work with Patrick Mahomes. It's not a deal breaker. It's a question I'd have to have answered in the interview process. Quinn is in the borough up next. What's up, Quinn?
What's up, Quinn?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? So my thing with Mike McDaniel, it's a question you got to ask. Who was he without Tyreek? Without Jalen and without Devin A-Chain? We don't have that speed factor here in Tennessee. So, what is his offense going to look like without that speed?
Nagy dealt with the same thing in Kansas City.
Without Tyreek Hill, too.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, so that's my thing. I would love Mike, but it's just kind of hard to see his offense without all that speed. You know what I mean?
Very fair.
So that was my thing, and I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Very fair.
Appreciate the call. He'd be great with Jim DK. I'll give him that. Jim DK's quick.
Bro, and here's the other part I think we're learning, too. Minds matter 100% to coaching staff. The Jimmies and Joes do, too.
Players matter more than anything. 100%. It's again, why some coaches are successful some places and not successful others. Who are they being given to coach? What you got?
Bibbity needs to leave the chat.
In the F&M Bank chat, what's the comment on YouTube?
Bibbity puts with an exclamation point, "We got Restrepo."
You do have Restrepo.
You do have Restrepo.
615-737-1045 is our number. Thursday, 3 picks against the spread for divisional round weekend coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling from my friends at Lee Company. How's your home's heating performing? Hey, if it's struggling to keep up this week with how cold the temperatures have been in the mornings, I'm here to tell you Lee Company has your back. Available 24/7, Lee Company's award-winning HVAC team will get the job done right. From repairs to tune-ups to full system evaluations and replacements, Lee Company is here to help keep you cozy and comfortable against winter's chill. Contact Lee Company online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for professional heating service from the pros who have over 80 years of experience serving Middle Tennessee. Lee Company's been trusted in Middle Tennessee since 1944. If you're new to the area and looking for a place to trust, Lee Company is it. With 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. Check them out online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
901, good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio, I'm Justin Hawkins. John Harbaugh is headed to New York to become the next Giants head coach. Per Ian Rappaport, the Giants will spend the morning finalizing a 5-year deal with the former Ravens head coach, making him one of the NFL's highest paid coaches. According to Jordan Schultz, Harbaugh's deal is expected to be at 5 years with a total value of $100 million. Also, per Diana Rossini this morning, former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken is expected to join Harbaugh's staff with the Giants. According to Rossini, that was always the plan. The head coach search for the Titans, well, it will continue to push on as they interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll on Friday, former Cowboys and Packers head coach Mike McCarthy on Saturday, and 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, as well as former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon coming up this Sunday. Also, Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith this morning has been requested by the Lions for their offensive coordinator position. Per Ian Rappaport, Smith is still in the mix for multiple head coaching opportunities, including the Titans, where he interviewed just yesterday, and also has significant coordinator interest as well. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour on your Thursday morning. Glad you're with us. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, and Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. How you jump in? Stoney Keeley going to stop by in 15 minutes. We'll ask him the question we asked you and have discussed throughout the morning. With John Harbaugh off the board, who's next? Stoney will be able to articulate that for us. Well, been too long since we've had Stoney on.
Need that from Stoney, man. I hope he's sitting right now, patting his pet cat at the house and having a bowl of cereal.
With a nice Yankee candle lit.
Yes. Or he can do the light, you know what I'm saying, the light candle now. You shine the light on it and it heats it up so you ain't got to have the flame going in your house. I'd love to know where he is in candle world right now.
We'll find out in a moment.
Yes.
After we ask football questions that you all need answered first. Quickly, we go through the Thursday 3. With Stoney coming up at 9:20, we go rapid fire picks against the spread. I'm glad we can go quickly and we can just all forget about how terrible I was last week, going 0-3.
Yeah, you did.
Trevor Lawrence let me down. Me and Jags fans both were let down by Trevor Lawrence over the weekend. Ramon is 34-26. Justin 32-28. I am 31-29. Ramon, you have first pick since you are 8 games over 500.
Yeah.
Moving quickly. Here we go.
Oh, moving quickly. All right, bet. I got. This is very true.
All right, sorry. I'll show you.
No, I got Texans over Patriots.
Oh, okay.
I do. I
plus 3.5.
Yes.
Would you go money line too? You think they're going to win?
I would go money line.
Wow.
I would. Defense, good.
Yeah.
It will travel. Drake May's experience in it. I know I've been like full on, like they're playing at home, New England Patriots, and watching that defense and how it got after. Like Will Campbell's going to have I don't project. Yeah, he's going to have a long day.
Okay.
Will Campbell at left tackle. Give me Texans. I saw it.
Justin, you got a pick on Patriots Texans?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Good.
We'll see what happens with C.J. Stroud. I'm going to go with 49ers and Seahawks. I'm going to go Seahawks -7. I just trust Seattle's offense and defense much more than the injury-riddled team that is the 49ers, despite their win last week over the Eagles, who are just struggling at offense for the Eagles. Fred Warner might come back. Ricky Pearsall might come back.
How about that?
Nope, absolutely not.
You don't think so?
He's going to be. If he does, he's going to be on a snap count. So
for sure,
I don't know how much it really matters.
You're just doubting.
Leg ain't strong enough. Absolutely not.
But Ramon, he hit a tackling dummy in the open portion of practice.
Bully pointed it out, and I saw. You see how he was favoring that strong leg? Keith Bullock, that is.
Yeah, I'll go with the healthier team.
Bully's like Prince. He just needs one name.
This is so true. My bad, Bully.
The artist formerly known as Bully. No, I'm kidding. I'm not really kidding. Kyle Shanahan has averaged 18.3 points per game in 4 games against Mike Macdonald since he became the Seahawks head coach. That is the fewest among 16 head coaches that Shanahan has faced 3 times. Mike Macdonald's kind of had his number. So I think that's a good pick. I am going to go opposite of Ramon for my first pick. I like New England against Houston. Yeah, good. I think Drake May's legs are the difference in this game. I worry about what C.J. Stroud showed us in his inability to take care of the football against a good Steelers defense.
Yeah.
And I think Drake May has the athleticism and the way that he steps up in the pocket away from the rush along the edge that I think helps out Will Campbell against the Texans pass rush. I just think C.J. Stroud and the Houston offense makes a big mistake that New England is able to capitalize on, and I trust New England to make fewer mistakes in this game at home. So I'm going to go Patriots minus 3.5 over Houston.
All right.
What's your second pick?
My second pick is going down to I'm picking defense again. I think Josh Allen got beat down pretty good, man. It's such a small line, too. I'm going Broncos minus 1.5 on this one. It's at home. The altitude is real.
It is very real.
It's very real. And that defense, I'm trusting defense this time of the year and the run game that they possess, too. I think they can get to Josh Allen. He's beat down a good bit, and they can also stop the run, and they're rested.
Didn't they lose 2 receivers this week?
Who?
Yes.
Gabe Davis and whatever the other one is.
Don't matter at this point. You're right. And Keon Coleman hadn't stepped up at all.
No, he hasn't.
It's literally going to be Josh Allen.
It's Khalil Shakir, the tight ends, James Cook, and
Joshua.
Whoever else. Yeah, Josh is running for his life.
Yep. Dalton Kincaid's still battling injury, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go to Chicago. I'm going to go Rams minus 3.5 against the Bears. I think the Bears' fourth quarter comebacks of 7 of them this season, which is very impressive, is going to come to an end. All good things must come to an end. And I think Chicago, they're just running into a really good team, a very well-balanced team that has struggled against Carolina this year, but against other teams, they're 11-5 against the spread this season. And I think that I would just go with the experience. Matthew Stafford's finger sprain that he had last week, we'll see. Yeah, that affected his accuracy last week. I think Puka Nacua had a couple drops that's very uncharacteristic for him. I think they settle those, and I think that the Rams are going to get the win despite the cold elements, and I think it's supposed to be pretty windy as well.
They were sloppy in Carolina. Like they really played with their food.
I think Sean McVay's going to get it all corrected.
I don't. I think it's Bears, man. I'm not confident enough in Chicago to pick it.
Yeah.
But Matthew Stafford in 3 of his last 5 games has completed under 60% of his passes. He's not right now. I don't know if it's the finger. I don't know if it's Devontae Adams has been out for a lot of that stretch. Obviously now he's back, so that issue isn't really there anymore. I just, he's played good defenses. I get it. But 5 of Matthew Stafford's interceptions this season have come in 2 games. And I think there's a game sitting there for Stafford where he's just going to blow up again. That's my concern on LA.
You know why I like it so much?
Why's that?
Hawks, locks. You no longer get to use that anymore because I'm the captain
in first place.
I'm leading.
Those are the rules.
Moans locks is what they are.
I don't make the rules.
Yes.
Ramon makes them.
Deal with it.
We'll see. What's your last pick? Oh, no, wait. We got to go with Will.
My second pick is Buffalo plus 1.5 at Denver. So I'm going anti-Ramon on both of my first 2 picks. When given the opportunity to believe in Bo Nix or Josh Allen, I'm choosing to believe in Josh Allen, and I'm choosing to believe that the bye week hangover matters. All right. We see this happen from time to time where the 1 seed and the 1 team that doesn't play in Wild Card Weekend is playing at a slight disadvantage. I saw a list from a Fox Sports writer listing quarterbacks they trust the most in the divisional round, and Sam Darnold was 8th on the list.
What?
Which I think is heinous and egregious. Bo Nix is the quarterback that I trust the least going into this. Bo Nix is on an offense that is 11-2 in 1-score games this year. I don't think that's totally sustainable. Bo Nix finished 21st out of 25 qualified passers with an 87.8 QB rating. He threw for less than 200 yards, Ramon, in 7 games this year. If Josh Allen plays the way that he did against Jacksonville, you are asking Bo Nix to rise to the occasion, and I am betting on him not doing that. So I will take Buffalo. What is your third pick?
Last pick? I'm actually going with you on this one. I got Seahawks. The way they went down to San Francisco, emotionally winning that football game, and everything was slanted towards San Francisco to win that game at home. I don't think Fred Warner's going to come back. If he does play, that's flagrant to me. He should prioritize his health in that situation. And this Seahawks defense, again, is very monstrous. They got offensive playmakers on that side of the ball, too. And that was a tight win. I view this one as they're just a better team, Will. -7.
I like it.
Give me Hawks.
I like it. Seahawks locks. one might say.
No,
yeah,
don't
Moan's locks.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't make your own open.
Moan's money.
I ain't got that. Moan's money.
No, it's
Money.
Money.
Ramoni's money.
Take
Ramoni.
that.
Justin, your
Call
final
me
pick. please.
winner is what you call me.
Here's a crazy stat. Fernando Mendoza, through 2 playoff games, 5 incompletions and 8 touchdown passes. 5 incompletions to 8 touchdown passes. Indiana is cooking. He's very surgical right now, but he's facing probably the best defense he's faced all season. And I think Mesidor is questionable to play. I'm not sure about that elbow. It's the last game of the season. See, for this game, I think Carson Beck and the way that they run the football in the playoffs, I think they can keep up. They can get the clock down. I think Miami covers 8.5 points. I think that's too large, despite absolutely obliterating Oregon last week. I think Miami covers the 8.5 points. I think it's going to be fun. I think Miami even has a chance to win this game outright.
I don't even know yet.
I totally agree with everything you just said.
You know why?
Because you're in second place.
Nope, don't do it. My third pick is also Miami plus 8.5. I will throw up the U as I talk about it. This is the type of team and profile of team that can match Indiana's physicality at the point of attack. I don't know if Fernando Mendoza can cook off script to scramble away from Mesidor and Bain the way that Trinidad Chambliss did, because they kind of neutralized that pass rush Ole Miss did. For all their deficiencies in that game, they checked that box by getting it out of his hands so quickly. But you are so limited as an offense when you're forced to you have to get it out so quickly with the football in your hand. I think the big question is third down offense for Indiana against Miami's third down defense. Indiana, and it's actually not close, is the number 1 third down offense at FBS this year because they are consistently able to run the football and put themselves in third and very manageable. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that against Miami. And if that pass rush can get them off script and get them in third and long, that is where I think Miami, then with the 11th best third down defense in FBS this year, who allowed Ole Miss to convert 20% on third down last week, I think that's where Miami's really strong defensively right now. I do like Indiana to win the game. I think that they are just so mistake averse. They don't make any big errors that I think they end up winning, but I think you have to buy Indiana at a premium right now because of how much they've just pantsed Vegas. So 8.5 is too big of a number. I like Miami to keep it within a touchdown.
If Miami can take care of the football in the interim, like in the first quarter, and not give 35 points to Indiana, that's how Miami stays in this game.
Right, because all of this is just totally irrelevant if Carson Beck throws 3 picks, which he can do at any given day. Let's go to Maurice in Mount Juliet. Talk about Matt Nagy before we get to Stoney on the other side. What's up, Maurice?
Uncle name.
Yes, I just wanted to get y'all opinion on if Matt Nagy was the head coach and he hired Eric Bieniemy as OC, as they both have ties to Kansas City and Chicago, with Eric Bieniemy being the current running backs coach in Chicago. How would you feel about that? And another benefit to hiring Eric Bieniemy, it seems it doesn't matter how much success he has, you don't have to worry about him leaving and getting a head coaching job elsewhere. I'll hang up and listen.
This is very true.
Thank you, Maurice.
I think Eric Bieniemy is very essential to a staff. I don't know which ones he'll be a part of, if it be this one. Chicago's most definitely benefited from Bieniemy. Kansas City most definitely benefited from Bieniemy.
Sign me up.
Listen to him. I looked up rankings yesterday of Army rankings. He's higher than a lieutenant. I'm gonna see if I can find that designation for you here in a minute as we go to break.
I am certainly open to Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator.
Yes,
no question. I don't know what his relationship with Matt Nagy is like.
Yeah,
if they see football the same way, and that is the lieutenant or whatever else you're looking up.
He's a colonel.
If that's the colonel for Matt Nagy, Colonel Bieniemy. Standing by, reporting for duty.
No doubt. I'm easily.
If that's the kind of guy that Matt Nagy's spoken about at Dan Pompei and in interviews to say, like, I need a colonel to stand there and tell me when I'm wrong or tell me to think about other options, then I think that's a logical fit. Yep. Stoney Keeley of Football and Other F Words, our draft expert on Ramon and Will. We'll talk about the Titans' pathway to finding a head coach not named John Harbaugh coming up next. Ramona Will continues at hour 4 this morning on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. He's Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. You hear him on Football and Other F Words, as well as Titans Talk Back, and it has been far too long since you've heard his voice on this show. He is the one and only Stoney Keeley joining us this morning. Stoney, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, boys. It has been a little too long. Doing well out here in Mount Juliet. I think I see a few snowflakes out here.
Oh.
Either that or something might be on fire in town. I don't know. But I'm doing well for the moment, yeah.
We talked highly of you a second ago. I need to know, are you still using a flame for your candles, or are you using a light heater for your candles right now?
Starting off with the big questions.
Yeah, the big questions first, Stoney. Come on, man.
Oh, I'm old school, Ramon. I got to have a flame. I love it. I like the way it lights the room. It's a little gentle. It just reminds me of the old days. Not that I lived in the old days when people lit their homes by oil lamps or anything like that, but it's like just a touch of history there for me. It's relaxing.
Stoney Keeley, Football and Other F Words, our guest. Stoney, how bummed are you about John Harbaugh going to New York? Was he your number one candidate? And where do you think the Titans stand now with him off the board heading to Jersey?
Well, first of all, if you've ever been to New York, you fall in love with New York. So I'm not going to fault the man for going there, having a good dinner. It's a good food city. You could probably talk me into just about anything after a good dinner in New York City. So I can't fault John Harbaugh for that. He was my number 2 candidate. And I'll tell you guys, I'm a big Mike McDaniel guy. So I've been listening to y'all this morning, and I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had there about Mike McDaniel and Matt Nagy.
Sure.
But I kind of feel like the experienced route with the relationship, I feel like things are pointing to Nagy. And it's sort of an inevitable feeling right now that he's going to end up as the head coach of the Titans. I don't think it would be as big of a disaster as most of the fan base seems to think. But if you're asking me my preference, I'm going Mike McDaniel all the way.
So, Stoney, how do you separate McDaniel's resume to Nagy's? I know surface level is not everything, but if you do look at the stats and the backgrounds, and they have both had 1 year as an OC, then jumped in probably before they were totally ready to be head coaches. The records are similar. The playoff records are identical. What separates Mike McDaniel and his expertise from Matt Nagy's?
Well, to me, I don't know that you're looking at the resume and the accomplishments and that you are able to differentiate between Nagy and McDaniel because they are so similar. I think for me, it's more about the style of each coach. And I think it's about the way things ended as well, because things soured pretty quickly in Chicago for Matt Nagy. I don't think he was necessarily a bad coach there, but when things went south, suddenly you had players and coaches kind of questioning him to the media. The vibes weren't very, very good in Chicago when Nagy was fired. With McDaniel, it kind of felt like more of just, hey, we need a fresh start here. We're going to hire the GM, and we're going to let the GM go get his guy, which is often the case in NFL history, which is why, like, to go back to Brian Callahan being retained for 2025, that was kind of an unusual precedent because usually you clean house, you start over fresh with a new GM picking his coach, and that wasn't the case. So with McDaniel, I look at it as the vibes aren't as off as they are with Nagy. And I think that's how people are looking at these two. But as far as schematics go, man, I'm a huge fan of McDaniel. I think he's miscast as just a Shanahan disciple, like quick game, timing throws, that sort of thing. McDaniel is an innovator. This cheat motion that everybody in the NFL is using right now, where you motion the wide receiver out and you snap the ball quickly so that the defense can't adjust to it, you give your wide receiver a head start, that started with Mike McDaniel, and it's spread throughout the NFL. He focuses on perimeter runs. He's got a fullback leading on the outside. He gets speed on his roster and then schemes it in one-on-one situations. There's more downfield passing concepts in his offense than people realize that would be a fit for Cam Ward. I mean, a lot of coaches talk about wanting to innovate on offense. Mike McDaniel is one of the few guys that actually does it.
Joined by Stoney Keeley this morning. Stoney, when How did it go wrong in Miami? Do you think he got fired because of the Harbaugh sweepstakes, or they just kind of got tired of whatever they've had in the last few years that he's been the head coach? Because you're pulling me in that direction of understanding the why behind him. But I do view his situation just asking the question, like, is he fit for where this team is at in this current state? So why would Miami let him walk, basically, at this point, if he has this?
My inclination – I'm sorry, Ramon, go ahead.
No, I was just saying if he has this innovation about his ability to be a head coach.
Yeah, my inclination is that the results weren't there. They saw fit to replace him. They got a new GM. They wanted to let the GM go get his guy. Because if you hear, like, what's coming out of the locker room, like what's going on in Cleveland right now, you have players talking about we want somebody that can hold us accountable. We need leadership in here. None of that stuff's happening with Miami. So I don't think he won enough to necessarily cement himself as the head coach there. But I also don't think it was such a disaster that they had no choice but to fire him. Because at first, when they hired the new GM, they said they were going to retain Mike McDaniel. They were going to keep him on for another year, and then they changed their minds. And I don't know if that was thinking they had a realistic shot at getting John Harbaugh once he was available. Very coincidental timing on Mike McDaniel's firing, so I'm kind of curious about that. But my inclination is that this was not some leadership question or toxic locker room situation, that they just wanted a fresh start there.
If he's the guy and he's available right now, Stoney, then he can be hired the same as John Harbaugh was too. The only reason I bring that up is you got to be thorough in these type of searches, head coaching searches, with where this franchise is. Robert Saleh is not available right now. How do you view the other candidate? I guess the hot ones. That's Robert Saleh. That is McDaniel, Stefanski. Where are you at with those trio of guys, if that's what it boils down to?
Yeah, I'm still leaning McDaniel. In general, I'm kind of leery about candidates with whom things ended poorly. So something went really sideways in New York with Robert Saleh. And you can talk about Aaron Rodgers, you can talk about the state of the roster, dysfunctional ownership, all that stuff. But I don't believe that Robert Saleh is completely innocent in all of that. I mean, he's an alpha. He is. Everybody says he's the leader of men type, and I completely agree. But sometimes you can be that to a fault. And I think about the popular draft night story of him wanting Will McDonald, the edge rusher out of Iowa State, over Jackson Smith and Jigba on draft night. And I just think about, man, how does that decision look today? But it's what he wanted. It's what he got. And now here we are a couple years later, Jackson Smith and Jigba's a candidate for Offensive Player of the Year. So I look at those decisions and I think, what did he learn from that experience? Like, has he learned to be a little more open and let people around him do their job, so to speak? Is he going to be meddlesome, have his hand in everything? Or is he the guy that we see in San Francisco that is making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what right now? I mean, they're down to like their 10th or 11th linebacker, and they're still going out there and beating the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in the playoffs. So fantastic job there. Same with Stefanski. I'm really curious why people aren't a little more cautious about Stefanski because of how things ended with Cleveland, where they're saying the Browns are saying, like, hey, we want somebody with accountability, somebody with leadership. I'm like, that's what people are saying in Tennessee. So if you're saying Stefanski's gone in part because he could not provide accountability and leadership, why should we think that he can provide that here?
It's fair. Stoney Keeley, our guest this morning, talking Titans in the head coach search. Stoney, I'm really curious on some of these defensive coordinator candidates, and Saleh obviously being one of them. And it's so hard, and this is true on offense too, but on defense especially, without a quarterback to develop, it's hard to separate. Does this coach just have really good players on defense, or is this coach a scheme savant on defense and the way all of that works. Because Matt Burke, I know, is getting interviews with what he's done at Houston. Matt Burke's got a lot of incredible football players who play on his defense. Out of the defensive coordinator candidates that are out there, Stoney, when you look at a Chris Shula, a Robert Saleh, a Jesse Minter, who stands out schematically? I know it's not the end-all, be-all. Who stands out schematically as someone you think has done a lot with what they have been given?
Yeah, I would say from a schematic standpoint, it's Jesse Minter. And now he kind of comes from that Michigan pipeline. He's had experience with a scheme similar to what like the Baltimore Ravens are running. He's very good at, how can I put this, disguising things in a simple fashion to where it's easy for the defense to execute, but it's hard for the opposing offense to read. It's something as simple as showing one look and then moving one safety, moving the safety up to a certain spot and getting to a completely different look. To where if you're the defense, there's only one piece that's moving, but to the offense, it may make things look totally different. So from a schematic standpoint, Jesse Minter is doing a really good job with what he's got in L.A., and he's got some talent there. But to your point, Will, it ain't the Houston Texans defense lining up out there in Los Angeles. So I like Minter. The questions I have about him, watching some of his mic'd up segments, watching some of his press conferences, he also has a couple of coaching clinics that are up on YouTube you can go watch. I don't get the sense that he's a real fiery guy. And it kind of makes me wonder how that's going to translate in the interviews and what he's really like when the cameras are off as well, because, you know, the Titans just fired a guy that was known as not really a fiery guy in the press conference, not really a fiery guy in the mic'd up clips, that sort of thing. So in a situation where it feels like the Titans want to go for a complete vibe shift, I don't know how much of a vibe shift Jesse Minter really is. And that's part my ignorance, just not knowing enough about the man. But it just kind of makes me pause a little bit. I do like Jeff Hafley quite a bit because I do feel like he's the defensive coordinator of the Packers as well. I do feel like he has the head coaching experience, albeit at the college level, but let's not act like being the head coach of Boston College during the COVID years, the advent of NIL and all that, in a competitive ACC was a cakewalk of a job, and he had that program competitive. Seems to really connect with his players and seems to be able to get the most out of them. Like you look at the way Packers fans were talking about Quay Walker before Jeff Hafley, they were ready to run that guy out of town. And then Jeff Hafley comes in and figures out how to maximize his potential. I like that trait in a head coach, and I think he does check the leader of men box.
Stoney, when you talk about Kevin Stefanski and Cam Ward being a possible marriage, I know Stefanski is kind of an offshoot of the Shanahan system, the way I understand it, in the Kubiak side, so to speak, of that coaching tree and the wide zone and the play action and the jumbo tight end and having an extra lineman on the field and passing out of those looks. How do you think that marriage would work? What are the pros and cons of pairing up Cam Ward in a Kevin Stefanski type system?
Well, schematically, I think Stefanski does do a lot of things that suit Cam Ward's skill set. And again, he hasn't had a lot of talent at wide receiver to work with in Cleveland, but he's shown that he can make it work, and he is capable. My thing with Stefanski, I think his biggest strength is as a game planner, understanding the defense that he's facing that week and how to attack it. And so with that in mind, he's virtually got every concept in his bag, but he fits it to the opponent, to the skill set of his players. So I don't want people, I feel like people hear Shanahan, Kubiak, disciple, and they think run the ball, timing throws, short intermediate stuff. And I don't think that's necessarily the case with Stefanski. So for me, I do think he would be able to implement a little more downfield passing concepts with him. And I do think the stress on the run game helps this franchise because we saw what this Titans offense and Cam Ward were able to do when they had the run game going. And I think that's a positive thing. That's an area that he would focus on. Does he have the personnel to run it the way he wants to run it here? I don't know. But at least in theory, I do think Stefanski, a lot of his principles jive with what they're trying to do here, the skill set of these young players on the Titans offense.
Stoner, when you look at all these candidates, and we have no idea which direction they're going to go in now, minus Harbaugh being in it, what is the biggest, I guess, factor into taking this job, Stoney? Is it time? Is it Cam? Is it the stadium? Is it the city? What determines, in your opinion, a coach taking this job and wanting it?
Well, it seems like, I mean, to me, I look at this job and I think it's got a little bit of everything for you. Everybody brings up the no state income tax. But for me, when you hear people talk about this job, the national media people, they always start with Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And they always talk about looking for the franchise quarterback. How many of these openings have the franchise quarterback? And I feel like that is probably the thing that is the building block of everything else. So if you've got that franchise quarterback, you can work with the cap space and you can look at this talented young roster, this rookie class. And I would argue Rand's 2024 class is paying dividends right now too. They've got a young nucleus that you can build around, but you've got the most important piece, and that is a quarterback that you think you can win games in the NFL with.
Very fair. Great points made by Stoney Keeley, as always, here on the show. Football and Other F Words, a podcast you need to subscribe to for his thoughts and Zach Lyons' thoughts, as always. Stoney, we will have a lot to talk about come draft season very soon. Looking forward to talking with you again soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, and I'll leave you guys with this. New York smells like a whole lot more than just history, boys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Stoney. Appreciate it. I love it.
Nice parting shot right there.
This morning, if you missed it, I mentioned, I think one of the selling points on John Harbaugh was smelling the hallways and the history of the Giants facility. So he's saying that there are a lot more smells than just history.
Yes, the heck it
Which
is.
is true.
You've been there? Yes, it is.
Jersey's better anyway.
Jerseys, no.
I'm marrying into a New Jersey family.
I was going to say,
I have to say that, but also like the Garden State.
New York.
Come on.
New York gets it.
Put some respect on Jersey.
This time of the year, Stoney was daggone good.
He was good. Always is.
The McDaniel conversation, he eases me up on it.
You know what? Let's talk more about that because, again, I said earlier, I'm willing to have an open mind. I'm willing to be swung in that direction. The one thing Stoney said about Mike McDaniel that really stood out to me, we'll talk about that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody likes dealing with the plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency at all. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. I always tell you, when you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and the price you tell is the price that you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. They bring the tablet to you, itemize everything about what you just had service in your home, and it's black and white. Full transparency, man. They've been in business for over 35 years. They are family owned and operated as well. And their motto is, happy you'll build the service is free. And they absolutely mean that. If you're not satisfied with the work, simply just give you your money back, man. But I promise you this, they do good work. They've worked in my house numerous times in and around it, whether it was HVAC or electrical or inside, man, they are good at it. To learn more about Hiller, simply go to their website at happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show. Appreciate Stoney Keeley and Coach Mack for stopping by. Tomorrow morning, Ron Slay and Brent Hubbs. Your thoughts and the developments of the Titans head coach search, which continues. I got to be honest, Ramon, I thought Stoney Keeley gave a good argument for Mike McDaniel.
Absolutely.
What stood out to me, and I think Stoney said it well, is the amount of innovation that Mike McDaniel has brought to Miami that has been duplicated other places. I think it's fair.
That's very fair.
Willing to have an open mind about it. And again, there's no imperfect candidate. There's no perfect candidate.
It's not. And
somewhere in the middle.
Whoever the Titans put in front of us, you going to like it, and you're going to have to sit there and just wait and see. I ain't going to say you're going to like it. If they hire Matt Nagy at this point,
you can't totally hate it. How about that?
Well, the crowd we're hearing from hates it. And that's the reason I listened to him. I said the crowd we hear from hates it.
No, I know. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the other half is.
If we gave the whole city truth
serum,
serum, what would they really say? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. The point of it all to me is the support staff. What Stoney brings up offensively for Cam and what it can mean for the offense, yes. But you also know what you need from the support staff: better draft picks, better free agency, better support staff when it comes down to an allotment of money that's going to be given to his staff. Because unless Vic Fangio's in either one of these coaching staffs moving forward, for Matt Nagy, Kevin Stefanski, or doggone Mike McDaniel, then is moot at this point. He, to me, is the golden ticket, is Vic Fangio or someone similar to his defense. What I'm getting at is this. Your DC is going to matter. If that's Denard, cool, because he's in the equation.
Yeah, Denard Wilson.
Current DC. But that, to me, is going to play a part. Who can either one of these guys pull from a staff or hire that says, yes, I can do my thing and you do yours over there?
Fair. Coming from the AFC East as well, I mean, who have you coached against? It's kind of the same thing that we talk about with Brian Callahan, and I know sore subject, but it is still a good process to, as an offensive coach, think about who has given you trouble as a coach and hire that guy. I mean, the way Josh Heupel hired Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles gave him trouble on the biggest game that he's coached in at Tennessee in the college football playoff. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, who the hire is step one of maybe a 10-step process in putting the best staff together and fixing the Tennessee Titans this offseason. Hiring a head coach is an important step, but it's one step. Yeah. Vanderbilt last night lost a basketball game. That's a headline because they hadn't done it yet. Matas Vokatitis, 22 points for Texas, who was excellent inside. I thought really took advantage of Vandy's foul trouble in the second half. I watched this whole game. Devin McLaughlin and his foul trouble. That's going to be the challenge for this Vanderbilt team, who's so good in the backcourt and on the perimeter and shoots the ball so well. When teams can out-physical you and out-tough you inside, how do you respond to that? They're going to have a chance to respond to it this weekend against Florida, who's going to try to do the same thing. But, boy, how about Texas? Since that loss to Tennessee last week, has now gone to Alabama and has beaten the SEC frontrunner in Vandy.
Sometimes you need to be tapped on the head a little bit to get your stuff together.
100%. They weren't going to go undefeated.
They weren't. Vandy played it close in the first half as much as I saw, man, and just kind of one little part. Like, their bigs, I think, outplayed what Vanderbilt's capable of. When you look at, Tyler Tanner being able to hold his own, absolutely did. But here's the issue they're going to run into this weekend, too, is how do they balance up against what Florida's going to present them? A lot of size, the ability to also shoot with them, and the guard play is just as well, too. Like, watching Florida against UT was an eye-opener. Like,
it was a beatdown.
Home, it was a beatdown.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
At home, them jokers are around the rim. Their second shot ability each and every possession is ever present with them. And that's where Vanderbilt's going to have to answer that question this weekend. The SEC is going to be tough. Nobody's going undefeated. One hell of a feat for Vandy to be undefeated at this point. Top 10 ranked team.
A phenomenal start.
And also got SEC wins underneath their belt, too. So it's the first one, of course. This is where coaching takes the adjustment and figuring out how not to allow this to happen again.
That's still the question I need to see answered for Vandy this season is what happens when the perimeter shots aren't falling and you're not getting enough of those long rebounds off your missed threes.
Yeah.
With a guy like Vokatitis, who was just elite last night.
Yes.
He is real when he's on, and when he's not in foul trouble. He was in foul trouble, to be fair to him, within like 2 minutes against Tennessee. When he's not in foul trouble, he's fun big man to watch.
That big boy can move.
He's got a lot of talent,
and he is heavy-weighted.
Good last night too with 21.
Yeah.
80-64 for a Vandy team that was favored by, I think, 4.5 when this game closed.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Miles was good. Vandy just couldn't make threes in the second half.
And again, that's going to be the issue they're going to have to face going up against Florida this upcoming weekend.
You knew they were in trouble when they went 8 of 15 from 3 in the first half and were losing. Vandy. And then they went 1 of 10 in the second half. So really, the average is kind of played out over 40 minutes. You had a really hot shooting 20 minutes, and then you didn't hit them in the second half. But it's still a front runner to me to be the best team of the SEC. It doesn't change anything fundamentally about Vanderbilt. And I know Mark Byington told the ESPN crew that called the game about it a lot, and they talked about it. Like, they weren't focused on going undefeated. They're focused on winning the next game. And you have to be. Like, it's the SEC. You're not going to go undefeated.
Well, here's the other part.
Loss isn't the worst thing.
You got Florida this weekend, who's long and rangy and got size, and then right behind that is Arkansas.
Arkansas playing well.
This is where
Didn't Auburn, but overall they're playing well this season.
This is where the adjustments come into. If you're, Vanderbilt, and like, how do you prevent this being your kryptonite? Because each team has its issues.
Well, and each team, it feels like, has a lower floor that come with the higher ceiling. The fact that Auburn can lose at home to A&M and then destroy Arkansas. Arkansas at home can soundly beat Tennessee, who then turns around and soundly beats Texas, who then turns around and beats Alabama and Vandy. Kentucky last night getting off the mat, buzzer beater against LSU.
Yes.
But how about Ole Miss going to Georgia? Buzzer beater to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
The SEC is not as deep and elite as it was last season, when it was unquestionably the best conference in college basketball. Maybe one of the best conferences we've seen ever in college basketball, the year it had last year. But the games are maybe even more captivating, Ramon, this year, because everyone can win or lose on any given night. There's not that elite team this year. Everyone's pretty good. I'm not even sure really anyone's that bad, other than maybe South Carolina. And even still, they've got talent. So
this is
a fun year
where answers have to be had. I see a comment before we go. It's like Texas couldn't miss last night, but neither could Texas A&M against the Vols, and the Vols took them to double overtime. My question is, what's going to be the pivot for Vanderbilt when other teams aren't missing and you can't match with the size?
Vandy couldn't miss the first half, and they were still trailing.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. Back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for your Friday. Appreciate you joining us. The Buck Rising Show is next.
But remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot, baby.